Merry Christmas, Andy.
Ho, 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 and happy holidays. Welcome to week 3, episode 3 of Will and Ava's Christmas movie marathon.
Yeah, happy holidays, I guess.
We're back in the Christmas cave. We've got some iced coffee today, 2 movies today, and we're afflicted, so to speak, today.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of Christmas stories about small young children having diseases, consumption.
There's one specific story I
of
can
a
think
little
of.
a little boy with a little crutch.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I'm that little boy with that little crutch today.
There might have been a specific pandemic
I
might
don't-
have struck the household.
I don't think we can even say the name of what we have on YouTube, but
Yeah.
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. So this, I remember early in our podcasts run, our first season, we were pretty sure we had it, but we didn't. And this is, definitely throwing a loop into our pre-Christmas fun plans.
Yeah, all of our festivities,
We
all of our sugar plums.
We've lost out on some work. We weren't able to go to a fun Christmas or a birthday party tonight. But when you're home with a disease, you have a ton of time to watch Christmas movies and bank episodes for your Christmas movie podcast.
That would be true. That would be true. We did, get through some movies. We're going to do a double filming day today.
Yeah, a couple of episodes in the next couple days.
I'm taking this fucking muzzle off,
That's
man.
true. So the mask is kind of a cost. I mean, we've been living together, so it's not like we're going to spread our disease to each other. So we can take the mask
This is
off.
conservative ASMR.
Yeah, it's conservative ASMR.
Taking off the mask.
You can throw it off frame.
Yeah,
Okay, it fell on the floor. We'll have to clean that up before we film the next one. So, Ava, today in celebration of our,
I
can
feel
hear.
like I can really breathe. It's kind of. I'm joking, guys.
Don't worry, Ava's not actually COVID denier. She believes the disease was real, or she believed it was. She had the exact right tracking. She believed it was real, but not a big deal. But then real, but a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And now it's
now
business
it's just
as
a
usual.
reality that we live in, and
Yeah.
I have COVID right before Christmas.
But
I was just drooling snot all over the pillow this morning. I'm not sure if you saw that.
I
Will.
didn't see it. No.
You missed that. There's snot just flying down my face, all over,
Yuck.
all over my hands, all over the pillow. That's what you have to deal with
when you're in the vibe. So in celebration, we decided the first episode we'd tackle would just be a good old-fashioned
Classic
Will and
episode.
Ava Christmas movie marathon.
Classic episode.
This is 2 disparate titles. There's nothing linking these titles.
Disparate.
Yes. Far-flung titles.
Disparate. I've never heard that word before.
Really?
Disparate.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I think I'm using it properly. If I'm
It
not,
sounds
let me
right
know.
because it's like a diss.
Yo, a diss.
Well, no, diss, Latin.
What if you could pick any iconic Christmas figure to diss? Who would it be?
Oh my God, I would.
And don't say the Grinch or Scrooge.
No, I was gonna say Meister Burger.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You wouldn't diss Santa
Or I
for
diss
stealing
or
the
I
limelight
dissed-
from JC.
I diss some of those asshole elves, in Rudolph.
Oh, so the
the-
mean ones.
The ones that are bullying.
You're coming in a little hot, darling. Had to turn you down.
Silence women's voices. Shut them up. The asshole elves.
Yeah, with the goatee.
Specifically that fucker with the goatee. He looks like an insurrectionist elf.
Oh,
that
you're
sounds like
taking
something my mom would say.
you're taking some pot shots at the right wing. And listen, I'm no fan of the conservative movement, but this is not a political podcast.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We don't concern ourselves about type of shit.
No, we're like President Obama. We don't sully our hands with politics anymore. We're done with it. Ever since we covered Kenneth Del Vecchio, we don't sully our hands with politics.
Did you see that
no
video
more.
on TikTok today of the fake Obama in the bathroom and Lil Nas X does the dance for him?
I did see that.
But
yeah.
it's like not actually Obama. Well, when I saw that, I didn't realize it wasn't Obama at first, and I was like, man, why isn't he focused on some real shit right now?
I don't think you want him to be focused on some real shit. Like the last 2 times
But you get what I'm
Obama
saying,
was
though.
focused on some real shit. It was making calls to make everyone drop out to consolidate against Bernie Sanders, and like he told like
That's true.
told like the NBA
That's
not
true.
to unionize.
But it was, I guess what I'm saying, it was kind of funny that I had like this like old lady ass impulse of seeing like
you
Lil
were like,
Nas X like twerk for a fake
fake
Obama
President
impersonator in
Obama.
a bathroom.
and you
my
were like,
first
it's
thought
a
was
shame that the office of the president has been sullied.
Can we please focus on some real shit? Not twerking.
President Obama, can you get on the fucking phone?
Get on the phone and make some phone calls.
Yeah. All right, so
okay, so the
after
movies.
a little bit of riffing, our disease-addled brains.
Will doesn't even have COVID. He's
I haven't
like
tested
he's fucking
positive
like
for
stolen valor.
I haven't tested positive for it. I've been feeling sick all week, but I haven't tested positive.
You have like that like it's like men when their wives are sick, men all of a sudden they're sick. All of a sudden
Wait, hold on a
they're
second.
sick.
I feel like this is like a cool plot for like kind of like a vibey horror adjacent movie
the
idea.
real monster is male privilege.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We all love those movies where the real monster is a
It's an idea.
a societal issue.
One of our cultural demons. But so
I did like the horn.
yeah.
Well, it's actually I don't really mind if it's cultural demons, but when it's like anxiety, I'm like, okay, I'm checked out.
Yeah, anxiety.
If the monster is anxiety, I'm.
But
I won't survive to watch the rest of the movie in this movie theater because I'm just gonna end it all, so I don't have to like deal with the monster being anxiety.
So we have to bleep that again.
I feel like
You can't say that on YouTube. Now that we're on YouTube, you can't say that.
I feel like I've said it on YouTube before. Okay, fair enough. Well, I'll do the bleeping this time, so you don't have to like.
Well, it's in the first 5 minutes now, so this is this will be easy to find.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, here are the movies that we watched.
Yeah, so it's a classic, not themed episode. We've got 2 movies, both ostensibly Christmas films. One of them, kind of. I guess it's a Christmas movie.
What the fuck are you talking about?
So
the fact. Okay, this is actually infuriating me because the fact that you think that in the movie that he's saying is not a Christmas movie is called A Sir Charles Christmas.
that's true.
From
2023.
The fact that you think A Sir Charles Christmas is not a Christmas movie, but the movie that we watched last night that was about that broke down comedian, neckbeard comedian.
We cannot let the illusion drop. That is for next week, our Christmas Day episode. We haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, sorry, I was speaking to when I went in my time machine.
So our first
See you in the future.
Our first film today is a film from 2023 that only 2 people have watched, and you're listening to them. It is 2023's A Sir Charles Christmas, directed by Vernon Snoop Robinson. This is a film centering around 2000s R&B slow jam icon Sir Charles Jones, not to be confused with Looney Tunes animator Charles Chuck Jones. But this is about Sir Charles Jones, singer of the song Friday.
Yeah, you might know who this guy is. I mean, he has
Yeah.
listeners on Spotify. He's not a fake guy. If you don't know him, then maybe you're uncultured. I don't know.
He does kind of oldie throwback music festival circuits.
You didn't know who he was, but when I saw the title, I'm like, this is a vaguely familiar name, Sir Charles.
Well, and when I listened to the songs, his 2 most popular songs we listened to, I recognized the one. I was like, okay, the one that's dedicated, the Friday song, the one that's dedicated to the working people, ready for the weekend. And and before we kind of goof on Sir Charles a little bit, here is the one true thing. Sir Charles, talented singer. And his voice
Great
was good
voice.
when he was a young man, and you hear older 2023 or 2022, whenever they filmed it, Sir Charles singing this movie. He has aged into an older voice very well.
Yeah, he has a great voice.
He has a great singing voice.
Yeah.
That is, above all else, that's what you have to give Sir Charles, and that's what he does. And so he's a great singer. The film he made, though, is deeply piss poor.
Yeah, yes, it was piss poor. But
but I enjoyed it,
and it wasn't evil.
It wasn't evil.
We've had some movies that are evil, right? Like especially last season, we encountered a lot of evil movies. This season,
bad vibes.
This season, we've been pretty good with like not encountering too many evil movies.
We've watched a handful of movies that I've been like, oh, this is pretty good for what it is.
Yeah. But I'm not even talking about like pretty good. I'm talking about on the scale of
the vibrational morality
evil
scale,
to not evil, because there's some movies that were legitimately evil that we've watched.
Yes, that's for sure.
Like Small Town Christmas, was that it?
Christmas with a capital C.
Christmas with a capital C.
Small Town Christmas was you could take it.
Small Town Christmas was the one with the cop, right?
Yeah, that was the one with the cop, which obviously had bad politics, objectionable politics, but like it was easier to take, I guess.
Yeah, but like Christmas with a capital C, that was like an evil movie.
That was
a demonic.
Kenneth Del Vecchio, his movies are
evil.
Fun to watch, but evil.
Yeah, they're evil, but his one movie is fun to watch.
Yeah, the one. Karate Christmas Miracle is fun to watch. Wrestling Christmas Miracle,
not fun to watch.
Not fun to watch. Less evil, but not fun to watch.
Not fun to watch. But Karate Christmas Miracle is evil, and it's great in that way. But anyhow, so this movie wasn't evil, it was just bad.
It was just poorly made and boring. But
no,
it was pretty boring.
No.
All right, so let's get into A Sir Charles Christmas. It has a strong opening. It's Sir Charles singing. We're following him on the road. He's doing
Friday.
It's Friday, and it's like an upbeat version of Friday.
Not to be confused of. It's Friday.
Oh, the Rebecca Black song.
Yeah. Friday.
Not that song.
No, this one is like, it's Friday. The weekend.
And it's an upbeat version of Friday. It's old Sir Charles singing Friday.
He's on tour.
He's at he's doing like opera house shows. He's doing like state fair shows. It's like all sorts of different shows. Like, no, he performs for a variety of audiences.
I do not think he was at a state fair.
It looked like a fair.
In front of like the Christmas pig?
Not in front of the Christmas pig. No, it was at like a fairground. He was at a fairground. He was in an opera house.
Festival. He was at a music festival.
He was at a club.
Fair makes it sound like
he's a lower tier touring act.
Yeah,
I don't mean that.
Like, oh, now I'm like trying to remember, what is the movie about? Oh, never mind. It was a script that I read in college. Never mind.
Oh, it's an unreleased script from a
never
contemporary.
Never mind.
Colleague.
Never mind.
But he's at outdoor like fairground venues. He's at a club, and he's at like an opera house, and it's fun. He's singing, and we meet Sir Charles. The film proper starts after the opening credits.
But we will say that in the opening credits, like there's some groupies that try to like get with him. Yeah. But like he's like, he's like, I think one thing that I like about this movie is not like, but like I appreciate about this movie, is that Sir Charles. It's not like he's like creepy old man trying to fuck young women. Like I think like he himself, at least when writing this movie, recognizes that like I'm like an old guy. I'm like 50.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking any young women. Yeah. I'm a paternal figure to women.
The most he does with women is he will give them a hug and take a photo with them and FaceTime their mom.
Yeah. He knows that he's in the age group of the mom.
It's not a creepy movie. It's not an evil movie. Yeah. But it is
like the one groupie is like, Sir Charles, you're my baby daddy. You just don't know it yet. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I would
all the girls trying to fuck on Sir Charles.
I would say, though, Sir Charles Christmas is not evil, and Sir Charles makes the right choice of not making it completely a vanity project. I would say this is hagiographic.
It is a vanity project.
It is a vanity project.
I'm just saying that he's not, a total pervert.
Yeah, he's not perverted,
and he's not, or at the very least, he's not portraying it in this film, which I can appreciate.
Yeah, and so the film proper starts. His promoter, I believe, Butch, played by the actor Gary Jenkins, it's shown that there's some sort of trouble with Sir Charles's finances.
Yeah, he goes to like this like venue guy and it's like, I need the money now in cash.
And the guy's like, it's all electronic. We don't deal in cash. And he's like, give me all the cash on hand. And he gives him like a couple $100,000, which doesn't cover everything.
He gives him $150,000.
Yeah.
Not a couple $1,000.
No, I said a couple $100,000.
Oh.
$150,000.
And skibbity beep bop. Yes. I fucked up there.
She's always trying to jump down my throat. I'm a podcasting professional. I get paid to do this. Not for this podcast.
That's actually facts.
But
well, anyhow,
there's financial troubles. Yeah. This guy who's handling Sir Charles's finances, Butch, his promoter, is clearly like not all there. He's not got his, or it's not that he's not all there, but it's clear that his
mind is in other places.
His mind is in other places, and he doesn't quite have everything under control.
They're so distracting him, and he's also very wound up and very like on edge and easily upset.
He's also very much like. In the next scene, we find out he's very much like, I'm looking out for number one, because Sir Charles is approached to do a free benefit concert for the community, give out gifts to children, give out meals to families that have fallen on hard times.
Yes.
And Butch is very much against this.
Yeah, he's so pissed off. He's like, why would we do that, blah, blah. And so Sir Charles reminds, much like a parable.
Yeah, Sir Charles reminds him, like, lest we forget where we come from.
So we go into a flashback.
Yeah, we flash back 3 years prior.
Only 3 years ago.
A lot can change in 3 years.
Butch was a homeless man.
That's right.
Wandering the streets in
Savannah, Georgia.
In abject poverty, covered in dirt.
Yeah, no one paying any mind to him.
No one, even Sir Charles not giving him a dime on the street when he runs into him the first time.
That wasn't Sir Charles.
Oh, really?
That was a different guy. Yeah, that wasn't Sir Charles.
Are you sure?
The guy that was going into like the
house.
Gated apartment? No, that wasn't Sir Charles.
I think it was Sir Charles playing a different person.
All right. Go on Tubi, be the third person to watch this movie ever.
I swear to God, it's like the first time he approaches Sir Charles is like, no, I'm kind of busy, blah, blah. And then the second time he approaches him because, I'll tell you. So the second time he sees regardless. Sir Charles, or, the first time, whatever you want to believe, he sees Sir Charles. Sir Charles is talking to some young female fans that are like, it's my birthday, Sir Charles. Can you sing us a song? And Sir Charles is going, happy birthday.
And Butch
and then
from behind approaches and sees
and harmonizes
and starts harmonizing, and in fact doing more complicated and impressive runs than Sir Charles,
is like, I see
doing
you.
At the moment.
And Sir Charles turns around and says, I see you. What's your name? Blah, blah. And then, Butch is like, oh, I'm Butch.
I actually used to be a financial advisor, but...
Well, they're like, oh, are you a singer? He's like, no, a singer, a financial advisor, but I'm homeless now.
And Sir
Charles ultimately, in this conversation, is like, well, you should become my financial advisor.
Which is an admirable act of generosity and charity.
But
however,
I would never let a homeless guy who was previously a financial advisor become my financial advisor.
I mean, like, I would
let him do, if I was like Sir Charles and I was like this very like,
and I really wanted to help him.
Yeah, outwardly helpful person who's like trying to bring people into my life like that. I would let this guy do all sorts of little tasks, menial tasks or whatever.
I would think if you're someone who's as successful as at least this film portrays Sir Charles, you should, put a portion of your finances or your thoughts towards helping those that are less fortunate. And that said, if I was Sir Charles, I might take the guy out to dinner or make him my personal assistant before making him manage my finances, which I have to assume he did a poor enough job at doing that.
Obviously, you're not good at handling finances. You're fucking homeless, dude.
Yeah.
Like I know crazy shit happens.
Yeah, exactly. And
it looks like you didn't have any savings.
Yeah, it's ironic, and comes off as like, okay, if I was,
and I wonder if it's meant to be ironic, or like if it was
the
just
movie
kind of
has
like,
a sense of
or
humor.
if it was just like a circumstance of the movie where like, well, Butch has to become the financial advisor,
so he should just like
he should have been like a former
one.
financial advisor.
Yeah, and so Sir Charles is like, oh, you do that, you'll do that for me.
Much like the Wall Street hobos of the late 20s.
The Great Depression. Maybe this is actually kind of a picaresque of contemporary America.
This is about like the recession that we're in. These Wall Street hobos.
I enjoy Butch's performance. I feel like Gary Jenkins does a good job as kind of like a cantankerous, kind of like selfish, character. Sir Charles is just playing this benevolent, generous caregiver.
He's playing himself, the great Sir Charles. Well, anyhow, so
we flash back and
so like we're like, okay,
we're back in the office.
And now we know that's Sir Charles, that Butch 3 years ago was homeless, and now has like completely forgotten his roots. Only 3 years later, which is like, damn, like, okay, Butch. And then his other manager,
Shantae, who is his personal assistant.
Shantae, like, kind of takes Butch aside. She's like, what was going on back there? Like, why were you like being so like and against like the thing?
He's like, Sir Charles needs to realize that we're having money troubles as it is, and he can't be doing stuff for free, no matter if it helps the kids.
Yeah, I'm a and I don't like that he was bringing up my past, blah blah stuff. And she's like, well, I also have a past.
Yeah, Sir Charles helped all of us.
And then we flash back to her past, where
and her father is...
and we enter this apartment living room, and her father is walking in circles, dancing, drinking alcohol straight from the bottle,
some sort of clear liquor,
but like just like holding it high up in the air, cartoon alcoholic dad, and her and her mom like meekly walk in, and he's like, dance with me, and we're like, no. And they like go in like the bedroom, and then the dad is like, I can't remember what mom's name is. Coco?
Kathy.
Oh, the actress's name, Coco.
Coco Brown plays Kathy, yes. And Shantae is played by KB Aubert, who I believe is a producer on the film.
Okay, so Dad's like, Kathy, get here.
Yeah. And
Kathy's like, oh, okay, I have to get in. All right. She goes in the living room, and he's like, I'm done.
Yeah, he says, like, I'm done. And we both went, like, is he gonna do something you can't talk about on YouTube?
No, I was like, what does he mean? Is he done drinking? Is he done with his kids? And he's done with the kids. He's done with the kid. He's like, sometimes you have to cut off your toxic ass kid and your wife, and you have to cartoonishly, while still drinking from your bottle of like vodka or whatever,
walk down the stairs and out the door.
Yeah, because it's like one of those apartments where like there's like a stairway in the apartment to go out to the front door. So we see him walking down the stairs, and it looks like when someone does like the magic trick behind a couch.
Yeah,
when they like and you walk down the steps.
That is true.
But he's holding an alcohol bottle and drinking it as he's doing it, while being like, "I'm done. I'm out of here." And
did you see how loud you were?
I'm done.
It was funny. And so, the daughter is very upset, and the mother's
she's traumatized, like, and then he was like the sole provider. Like the reason why he was an alcoholic was because
he lost his job,
he's the sole provider.
The mom has had to work a little harder. He hasn't been able to find another job.
But he leaves, which means that now they get evicted. They're homeless. They're like living in a shelter.
But they go to like the mall to like one
warm
day
up or whatever.
And she says something like, and I heard someone singing a Christmas carol, and you hear, "Have yourself a merry little Christmas." And she went, "It was Sir Charles."
I don't know why I thought, like, even if I knew it was "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas," in my head I autocorrected like, yeah, and Sir Charles sings Jingle Bells.
Yeah, he basically does. He sings like a Christmas carol, and she comes up to Sir Charles, and Sir Charles, she explains their situation, I guess.
Yeah,
we don't see this. This is all over stock footage of a mall.
Yeah.
And she says, like, Sir Charles took pity on my mother, gave her a job, and now her mother is like a chief financial officer of some sort of
Bomazon.
Not of Bomazon, but of some sort of tech company. And now Shantae is
his personal
has
assistant
taken that job as Sir Charles' personal assistant and is able
or maybe
to make a living.
It might have been something other than personal assistant.
It was something.
She's in the music industry. I think it's not personal assistant. I think she's like music project manager or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
But
and so
I do want to
give
her props. I don't want to be like, oh, because she's a woman and she's a secretary.
No, sure. Yes, yeah. But it's like this team of Sir Charles is 2 people.
It's a small team, but there's also a white security guard.
There is a white bouncer guy.
An older white man with a mustachioed older white man.
He kind of looks like David Crosby from Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Yeah. So but it's a small team. Okay, so
Shantae says like, you forgot your past. Sir Charles helps people. He needs to do this concert. He needs to do this food bank giveaway, Christmas giveaway, and he's like, whatever.
Yeah, the issue isn't resolved. So
he goes to a bar, right?
Yeah, but that's not the next scene. That's the crazy thing. The next scene is Shantae with Kathy.
Oh, yeah, she goes back to see her mom.
Yeah.
To her mom's place.
Seeing her mom. And is that when her mom drops the bombshell on her?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like so this is when you're like, oh, so this movie isn't about Sir Charles?
Yes.
You got like kind of pissed off.
I got kind of upset.
I'm like, let the movie play out as an ensemble cast.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of these...
And it's all glued together by...
A lot of these movies are ensemble casts, but this is a movie that is very much... Sir Charles is in a few scenes and shows up to be benevolent.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Well, it's all held together by the power of Sir Charles. Okay,
yeah.
So she
goes back to her mom.
And her mom drops this bombshell where she's like, you might have a sibling.
Before you were born, your father wanted to I got pregnant and your father wanted to focus on his career. And so we had the baby and we gave it up for adoption.
Yeah.
And Shantae
is...
Okay,
so imagine you are like a 7-year-old woman. You and your mom experienced homelessness together.
Mm-hmm.
You had an abusive alcoholic father.
Not in your life anymore at all.
Never been in your life since. And your mom tells you this information. You're not going to fucking get mad at your mom, right?
No. And she gets pissed.
She gets so mad at her mom. She's like,
I can't. You are a poor excuse for a mother.
You're a horrible mother. Blah blah. It's like, damn.
Why would you keep this from me? I don't really think that is. I don't know.
It seems like a private matter.
Yeah, I mean, I can see.
Maybe I think I'm just so like naturally like I don't give a fuck about this type of shit. But you know what I mean? It's like I feel like my mom could tell me something like that, and I'd be like, "Oh, okay."
Well, but I feel
like I would never think about it again.
There could be some sort of like, "Oh wow, this entire time I had a sibling I didn't know about." There's some sort of I can understand having.
I feel like if I was 16, I'd freak out.
I can understand having mixed emotions about that, but I don't think the response would be like, "Oh my God, you're a terrible mother. How could you do this?"
How could you?
It's like, what do you mean, how could she do this?
I'm like, okay, so like, the other thing, it's like, okay, so mom got pregnant, realized she couldn't take care of the baby.
Yeah.
This movie has like a somewhat like Christian angle to it. No, right?
Yeah.
Sir Charles is like, thank God,
this is true.
God,
yeah. There is a God in the film.
And Sir Charles does pray in a church to an ankh at one point.
That's true.
Which was awesome.
That's true. Sir Charles does go to church.
And instead of a crucifix, it's an ankh. Which I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But anyhow, y'all. So in this Christian perspective, mom gets pregnant.
Can't take care of the kid. They don't want the child.
The moral Christian thing to do in that situation would be to put it up for adoption.
Yeah, this is not a situation of, now obviously I don't feel this way.
This kid isn't like an abortion survivor,
exactly.
Basically.
It's
like a Charlie Day and Always Sunny.
Yeah.
The abortion survivor. If this was a Christian movie and Val was like in the perspective was like, you aborted my older brother, how could you? Whatever.
It's stupid. It would be a more evil movie.
It would be a more evil movie, but it would make more sense as like a reaction.
Yeah, that the daughter gives would make more sense.
Yeah, but this movie is like doing technically in that like moral framework.
Yeah,
is doing what you're supposed to. Like she did what she was supposed to do.
Yeah,
it's like I can't take care of this fucking kid. We don't have no fucking money.
Yeah.
I had to put it in adoption, give him a better life. We find out things about this child later, but well. That's for another day to discuss. So, she's mad as fucking her mom. Cut to, Butch.
Butch is at a bar. A hotel bar, we're pretty sure.
Yeah, we're pretty sure it's a hotel bar.
Because every so often there's one angle.
Yeah, when they walk into the bar, you can see the room they walk into, and it looks like a hotel hallway.
Yeah, it's got, like, the hotel art. It's got, like, the beige, like, hotel. And it looks like they were like, all the actors are staying at this hotel for a week while we shoot. Can we shoot the bar scenes either after you close or before you open? And so this is my favorite part of the movie. This is where it feels like these scenes are my favorite part of the movie. You didn't like
these scenes are like infuriating.
You didn't like
watch.
when it became like a really strange hangout movie.
Well, the first time these scenes happened a few times, and the first time it happened,
there are a few bar scenes.
The first time it happened, the whole time I was thinking to myself, "What is this scene accomplishing?"
Yeah,
maybe I guess the screenwriter part of my brain was like firing on all cylinders. I'm like, what is the point of this scene? What is the point of this scene?
The only point I can think that it gets across is like Butch is hardened and aggressive, and his heart is closed off.
Yeah, but there's so many like little like set pieces into it that just feel like nonsense.
This is also
like red
when
herrings.
I very firmly went like, this movie is not about Sir Charles. Barely about Sir Charles.
But it is the Christmas that Sir Charles is creating for everyone.
Ushering in for everyone.
So like, I feel like it is about Sir Charles.
But so Butch is like drinking heavily, drinking whiskey at this bar, and the bartender's like, man, Butch, he keeps like being really aggressive to the bartender. He's like, why won't you give me my drink?
What do I do to get a drink over here?
And who comes in but a
Latina
woman who I can't remember her name.
I don't think we really have to.
Maria, I think.
It's either Emerald Khan or...
I think it's...
Lisa. It's probably Maria.
Regardless, a Latina woman, and we bring this up because that's like he's like really like kind of racist to her.
Yeah,
at
one point.
He like says like, I don't understand what the hell you're saying, and she's just
but
the only words she says.
It's friendly fire road because she's like Dominican.
The only words she says though are like "Hola, que paso, mi familia."
Yeah, and he does like do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, he does like and he does like an offensive accent.
Well, but honestly, like, okay, like I'm not on the side of racism.
Okay.
Like we're gonna start there.
Everybody, get your screen recording starting now.
But she was being so fucking annoying.
She was pretty aggressive. She was like, kind of like, why aren't you talking to me?
And it was so weird because it's like, I mean, like, okay, it's a dumb movie, but like, you're at a bar and like there's this weird closed off angry man who's not like a young guy, not like a handsome guy.
No.
Who's just like a little man. He's like a little man in his like 40s sitting there drinking aggressively and yelling at the bartender.
And the bartender does keep serving him, which would lead me as a bar patron to go like, okay, there's like a dynamic here. Like this is a regular who's like in a bad spot.
Yeah. Why would you be going up to him like, oh my god, blah, 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 blah.
What are you doing for Christmas?
Oh my god, talk to me. Like, why would you do that? Like, you're fucking weird. And also, like, I would sit as far away from that guy as possible, but she's acting weird. So, you play with the bull, you get the horns.
Yeah.
And the horns was a little bit of racism, but it's black on Dominican, so I don't really know if we can really call that racism.
That's not my place to determine. I'm gonna comfortably sit that one out. But
I'm pretty sure she's Dominican though, because she was like, my mom is Dominican, and she said, doesn't she have a line? Because she's talking about how her long lost sister.
She's got a long lost sister. That's the thing. Her long lost sister's visiting.
There's so many like details in like this shit, like in this scene, that's like it has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. Right, but she's like, my long lost sister, I'm meeting up with her tonight, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and she says something like I think she says her mom is Dominican, so that's why I'm calling her Dominican.
But is this the scene where my favorite
character? But I also might have hallucinated that because I do have COVID, so I might have feverishly thought that she said that she was Dominican, and in my fever-addled brain thought, and that's why it was okay, but he was racist to her.
I think we're supposed to understand it was not okay what Butch said to her. I think we're supposed to understand it was like Butch was being mean.
Oh yeah, he was being mean.
But you're saying it's not like a cancelable offense.
Yeah, we're not canceling Butch.
Sir Charles, we need to get Butch out of your staff. He's toxic.
Sir Charles, why would you have Butch in this movie? When he's obviously, since it's obviously a autobiographical film, Sir Charles, why would you make it center around this racist, nasty man, Butch?
But
so problematic.
So is this the scene where my favorite character
yes,
enters the bar? John.
Okay, so talk about isms. They ableistly are making. Okay, so there's this guy.
My favorite performance in the film is the.
I hate this guy. Is your favorite performance? My favorite performance is fucking Sir Charles.
Is Teddy Isaiah as John, who is a character who's kind of, I would say he's kind of a cousin Fred archetype. He's kind of a fun-loving, young man who is.
He's a plump, dreadlocked man
who every time he says a word that starts with J, does a bit of a stutter. Yeah, that's why his name is John.
Yeah, so which is like ableist, I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's definitely,
it's definitely like a non-understanding of how like stutters work. Speech impediments like Joe Biden has.
Yes.
Joe.
Yeah. Just Joe Biden.
Joe Biden.
But John.
That's not funny. At all.
Looking at the audience. But John comes in and he starts flirting with the girl.
But just so you know, really quick about the John thing, like the bartender keeps like making fun of him. He's like, okay, John, how about you go and get a job? Like the bartender's like trolling him over a speech impediment.
Also, the bartender and the bar patrons, none of them order a specific drink. They're always like, what do you want? And John's like, I want something clear.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that I get. Like, there are people that are like, I can't drink brown spirits. But it is kind of like, all right, John, well, do you want, like, vodka? You want tequila? Like, do you want, like...
I mean, like, I think that might be a cultural thing, though, honestly.
That's true. My bad.
I feel
Hats off.
I feel like there's, like, a whole thing, like, oh, I want brown liquor or I want clear liquor tonight.
Yeah. That's
true.
true.
At clubs, like... At a bar,
That's
maybe
true.
doesn't make as much sense.
And he's getting shots. It's like,
at a bar, it doesn't make as much sense, but I feel like in a club setting, like at the club, when someone's getting a bottle, like you want brown liquor or clear liquor, and you just pour something into your
cup. You get like vodka or rum or
whatever.
Anything. Yeah, makes sense. Anyway, what happens next? He comes into the bar. He starts flirting with the girl.
Yeah, he starts flirting with Maria. He's like, "Oh my God, Maria," and like doing all these like Latin like vocalizations towards her.
Yes.
And there's no reason for it.
Nope, none. Not really. That doesn't really get consummated ever.
Yeah, the only thing that happens is that, like Butch is, mean to them and then the scene ends.
Yeah.
Which is why these scenes make me lose my mind.
Yeah.
Later I think the next scene is a Sir Charles scene with Shantae there. And, like, Sir Charles is trying to do some negotiating or something, and Shantae is kind of distracted. I didn't remember the details.
That's right. And Shantae brings up to Sir Charles, like, I got mad at my mom because she told me I have this long-lost sister. And Sir Charles is like, we need to refocus on this situation. You have a new sibling. How exciting is that?
Yeah.
Your mother is a good woman. You should not be mad at her. You need to find this sibling and apologize to your mother.
Yeah, and yeah, Sir Charles has like this Christian perspective. He says you don't understand everything that your mom does.
Yeah.
You
don't know what was going on in her life at the time.
And that is facts.
And that's how I feel about the situation.
That's how I felt. Yeah. I was like, yeah, Shantae, you're being a bitch.
Yeah. I agree. And so Shantae goes back to her mom and she says, I'm sorry. I want to find my sibling and I want to say I'm sorry. And part of what's informing this change in attitude is I spoke to Sir Charles about this. And her mom blows up at her.
She's like, Sir Charles isn't part of our family.
Why do you have him in our business?
But again, that's facts.
I thought she was being a little... Sir Charles is a part of the family. I agree with Shantae in this scene. Sir Charles saved their family.
But you don't tell kitchen table secrets outside of the house.
I agree with that.
You don't put the family business in the public realm.
I agree with that.
And Sir Charles,
and I don't do
like
that.
He's a great guy. Like, okay, yes, we get it. Sir Charles is like Jesus. Like, we get it. Like, he is perfect. But
they
even
really
though Sir Charles is so perfect, that doesn't
regardless
mean
of his
perfection. You can bring your mom's dirty laundry to him and humiliate your mom.
Okay,
Shit.
that's fair. That's
Shantae,
fair.
figure it out in your head.
That's fair.
And, Shantae also, here's the other thing about Shantae. Shantae is okay using Sir Charles because Sir Charles is like, oh, this is really great, and I'm going to give you money to get your DNA
Sir
test
Charles
and find
gives
your
her
sibling.
like $500.
Yeah, and he's like, I'll give you more. Like, I'll give you money to do DNA test. And Shantae's like, oh my God, thank you, Sir Charles. And gives him a hug. And, she tells her mom that. That's the context where she tells her mom. Because her mom is like, how are you going to afford to do the DNA test and everything? And she's like, oh, Sir Charles is paying for it. And that's why mom gets pissed off. And I'm like, facts.
Yeah, why is he a part of this thing now?
Yeah, now it's all about Sir Charles. Now it's all about Sir Charles.
What is this, a Sir Charles Christmas? I do love the movie. Even though I think it's bad, I do love it.
I thought it was really funny. So, she goes...
I keep kicking my headphones.
Well, because my toes are out, and, I keep wanting to, like, tangle up my toes in the wires, because it feels, like, nice in between my toes. Like, the cold wires feel nice in between my toes.
It's like so satisfying. It's like a hashtag satisfying vibe.
It's like playing with slime.
So there's not another bar scene next, is there? Do we follow Shantae to go to the DNA office?
Maybe.
With the lady
Maybe.
there?
What I will say about the DNA office is that it's really fucking funny because she's explaining her thing to the DNA lady at the office. I don't understand
we actually have friends. Our like writing partners and close friends just actually got DNA tests done. The process was nothing like. It's an interesting conception of getting your DNA testing done.
Yeah. So anyhow, y'all. So she goes to the DNA site place, and the lady doing like a consultation or whatever. She's like, oh, and yeah, I work for Sir Charles, and the lady's like, oh, Sir Charles? That's interesting.
That's right, yeah.
And she's like, oh my God,
Are you like a fan? Did he stop by?
No, she said, oh, he must have stopped by. You probably know who he is because he probably stopped by to pay for it because he said he was going to pay for everything. And the DNA lady's like, no, he didn't do that.
No.
And she's like, oh, okay, well, he'll probably do it later then. It actually makes sense because I didn't tell him like what day I was going or like what DNA place I was going to. So actually that makes sense.
Yeah.
And folks, this thread that seems like something is being planted there of like, oh, why was Sir Charles there?
Nothing. Why does she know about Sir Charles? Or why did she like go like, oh, Sir Charles? No, that's not a Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, you'd really think it was. I thought it was going to be like Butch went in there and
I
like
thought it was
stole
Butch
the money.
went in there, and that's what I thought. Yeah.
But it didn't happen, which is so weird because that felt like such like the obvious thing.
Well, because Butch was like very against Sir Charles doing things for free or using money in a way Butch didn't approve of. So I thought he would catch wind that he was paying for this.
Yeah, and get totally pissy about it and
fuck it up for
Shantae.
and
fuck it up for everyone. But no, that isn't what happened, and it's just stupid.
And then we get another fucking bar scene of Butch grumbling at the bar, and there's a white guy there who comes up, and he looks kind of like sort of like a low rent Jesse Plemons.
So really quick, we might be skipping some things that happen in between, but I don't think it matters.
Yeah, what are we skipping?
We're definitely
there is more.
We're definitely skipping a lot, but honestly,
after the second bar scene, there's the food bank scene.
Oh yeah, the food bank where oh my God, we get this rant about like single fathers.
Remember the bar scene happens, right?
No, because the bar scene is the catalyst for
the injury.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. I mixed up the order.
Yeah. So there's definitely a food bank scene, and in this food bank scene,
this is also the only movie this season so far where I started to fall asleep a little bit.
Oh.
You know that.
Oh.
You went, wake up.
Yeah, and when Will falls asleep on the couch, I just smack him really hard. Okay. Okay, so I'll take over the helm of talking about this.
I remember this part.
So you remember when the single dad comes in and he's like...
So Sir Charles and Shantae and...
At first he's like, Sir Charles, what's your agenda for being here?
Yeah, they're at a food bank and they're giving out meals for families and the homeless for Christmas. And this guy comes in and he's like, Sir Charles, what... I'm kind of shocked to see you here because you're a celebrity. Though I guess maybe I'm not shocked because celebrities are always doing things like this for an agenda.
Yeah, but I have the feeling that you're not here for an agenda. Is what he kind of says to Sir Charles. And Sir Charles like,
I like the cut of your jib, Sir Charles.
And Sir Charles is like, yeah, man, I'm just here to, feed the homeless and the poor. How are you, man?
Give back to the community.
Give back to the community. How are you, man? Like, how are you doing? Like, what is your story? Tell me.
And he says, like, honestly,
not good.
Not good.
Not good.
I have to can I have 2 to give to my kids?
Because my wife just died. And we didn't have our fucking affairs in order, so we don't have any money. And I'm waiting for 2 weeks to get my first paycheck on my new job.
I got a new job, but it's hard because
I gotta feed these kids.
Yeah, and it's and again, like that's a really
shitty
situation that is difficult, and if that's a real reality for you, that is really, really horrible. And luckily there are people like Sir Charles.
Yeah, and then he says. And, they say that, that single fathers, they're, like, not good and that they can't do things like this. But I'm a testament to the opposite, actually.
I'm a witness.
I'm a witness to the opposite. And, I'm not even going to go there.
That's true. He
goes, I'm not even going to go there.
He gets so worked up that he can't even go in on it.
I love a little sprinkling of single dad propaganda.
I liked when Sir Charles was like, he was like, wow, that's a lot. You're carrying a lot on your shoulders right now.
Yeah.
And he was like, it is a lot. And what gets me mad is when people say that men can't do it.
It was funny as fuck.
Well, you don't like that movie After Sun because it's single
dad propaganda. Well, it's just annoying. It's like, okay, we get it.
You're no fan of men. I mean, you're no fan of men. You love men.
I like you.
Yeah, well, sure.
I like you. I like Tom and Jerry.
I like Bugs Bunny.
I think like you and Tom and Jerry are my favorite men.
I
like Santa.
It's true, Santa, Jesus Christ.
I like Jesus Christ. Yeah, I like you, Tom and Jerry, Santa, Jesus Christ. And other than that, the list is, it's pretty tight.
It is dwindling.
It gets pretty tight after that point.
Snoopy's a man, technically.
Snoopy is a man, so I do like Snoopy too.
But so after they do the food pantry scene,
and Snoopy is a veteran.
That's true. Snoopy is a World War I veteran.
So
in the Air Force.
There's that.
So after the food pantry scene, we get another bar scene where Butch is drinking heavily and yelling at a bartender again, and then this white guy comes in.
Damn.
Ferraris are backfiring outside.
I'm not sure if chat heard that one.
Yeah, but chat, you hear that
outside?
Chat,
did you hear that? That was a car doing like a cool like car backfire thing.
But
that's why men are good, actually.
But so
they can like make their cars do
Butch
that.
is in the bar, and this white guy, this suited up guy in a suit, white guy comes in, and he sits down at the bar, and Butch is like, or like the guy says to the bartender like.
Whoa, you almost burped.
I did. The guy says to the bartender like, "Hey man, I could really use a drink right now because I'm celebrating tonight." And the guy's like, "You finally got your new kidney?"
yeah, which is like, it was cracking me up because it's like, bro, like you're getting a new kidney, don't drink.
Yeah, it's like if you're getting a new kidney,
you're on like dialysis, and you're gonna have a drink. Are you fucking insane?
Yeah, it's you're not really supposed to, right? Like if you have one kidney.
Yeah, well, why would you do things that are like actively? I mean, we love alcohol here.
No, yeah.
I'm pro alcohol.
Definitely.
I think alcohol is good. I think it's, I think a glass of wine is healthy.
Like another round, it's dangerous, but it's actually one of
goated.
It's a beautiful thing that we have.
It's a goated thing that we have in America, in the world. But
alcohol, solely American.
The American invention of alcohol. But what I'm saying is it's like why would you you're getting a new fucking organ in your body. Why would you actively drink alcohol?
Especially right after the procedure.
Know if like I know if like with liver transplants, because like liver transplants usually happen because like alcoholics have like cirrhosis.
Yeah.
So then you need to get a new liver. I learned from watching an episode of The Good Doctor that if you have cirrhosis and you're on a liver donation list, right, and then you have like a glass of champagne at your daughter's wedding a month before you get your new kidney, that if they find that in your blood alcohol or whatever, you get taken off the kidney list.
Wow,
okay. And you go back, and you have to wait a whole year until you haven't had alcohol again.
Because that's not there. It's like
because it's showing
you're showing that you're reckless with your organs, and you're if you want your like liver replaced, you can't.
They have like I don't know how many like livers or kidneys they have. Like at a time available for transplant, but it's probably not that many. So it's like we have to give it to the people that like aren't gonna fucking like take shots at a bar.
But so anyway,
this guy who's taking shots at a bar. I don't know if the kidney rules are the same, but I feel like they probably are.
We are not supposed to understand this character as reckless. We're supposed to understand him as actually
a
responsible and a very bootstrapped like guy.
Well, we really find out that he's pretty bootstrapped, actually.
Yeah.
We find that out pretty quickly. So Butch is all butthurt.
Yeah,
right?
Butch is like,
I guess you're lucky. Oh, I guess you're just one of the lucky ones, which immediately tips me off, and I go, oh, I guess Butch has kidney failure.
Yeah, Butch must have some sort of medical problem. That's why he's such a sourpuss Grinch ass.
His Grinch ass, and not feeling the spirit of Sir Charles Christmas.
Not letting Sir Charles sing for the kids.
You just have to let, the spirit of Sir Charles, for you, and accept Sir Charles.
Silent night.
Holy night, all is calm, all is bright.
But so,
that's our idea of how Sir Charles would sound singing Silent Night.
But so, Butch is like
butthurt as fuck, and
he's like, not everyone's as lucky to get a new kidney as you, white guy.
Yeah, and he says you have white privilege, right?
This white privilege guy,
and
the bartender says, Butch, you actually need to check yourself real quick.
Yeah, because he's doing too much. Because Butch is doing too much in this moment. And the white guy is like... But the white guy tells his backstory.
And he says like, Butch, listen, I don't begrudge you, brother.
And Butch is like, don't call me brother. I'm not your bro. I'm not your homie. And he's like, Butch is doing too much. He's doing too much, right?
And so the white guy...
But I'm also watching this, and I'm like, but this is a white guy, so like, let me hear Butch out. Like, maybe Butch is right, and he's
got a bad maybe this white guy has a bad vibe to him.
Why is this white guy coming into this black and Latino bar?
But so the white guy explains that he was given up for adoption. He wasn't given up for adoption. He was abandoned.
He was abandoned on the street as an orphan, like old-timey shit. That's the shit that I love. That is what makes this a fucking Christmas movie.
Yeah,
only in
it's
fucking
like Oliver
Christmas
Twist.
Movies.
He's like a Dickensian.
It's only in Christmas movies when this shit happens.
Yeah. He gets abandoned on the street, left for dead by his biological parents, and he gets picked up by his father, who he makes a clear point to mention. A black man. The line is like, and I am so lucky that my father, a black man, decided to have an open heart to take me into his home.
It was a black cop, by the way.
Yeah, police officer.
It was a police officer, but he says, my father, a black man, and that triggers the fuck out of Butch also, because then Butch is like, wait, you're telling me your father was a black man?
Yeah. That said, though, Butch shows some sort of Christmas spirit to the guy, because he buys him a drink at the end of the scene. He says, like, all right, get me, bartender, I don't give a fuck. Shut up, white guy. Bartender, he says, like, bartender, give me my drink.
But Butch
and get something for the, Cop Junior over there.
Well, no, because Butch doesn't really have a light and heart, though, because he's pissed, because he's like, oh, but your dad, so the white guy's like, but my dad died, like, a few years afterwards, and I was never officially, put in his inheritance, because Butch is like,
well, your dad was a cop. That must have had a nice pension.
Yeah, you must be rich now, or rich white, privileged white boy, orphan boy, you little rich orphan, Butch is like, fuck you, orphan.
But they make great effort to show that this white guy, like, at every turn, he's like, well, actually, we didn't sign up for the pension.
He didn't get his pension. And, he never legally had me as one of his heirs, so I didn't receive any benefits from his life insurance policy when he died. In the line of duty, by the way.
Yeah, so, at every turn...
But Butch is still, like, he's, like, mad as fuck.
This is the most aggrieved white guy.
But Butch is still mad as fuck, and he gets up, and he's pissed off. He's like, fuck you, blah, blah. He's, like, pissed. Yeah. And then he fucking has a fucking heart attack.
Yeah, he collapses in the bar.
It's not a heart attack, it's a kidney attack, I guess.
Yeah, but his kidneys fail.
Yeah, the failing gets a little too real. And he collapses, and the white guy... Well, the bartender calls the cops. The white guy stands by his side. The ambulance.
He goes in the ambulance with him.
Yeah.
The reveal of the shaky cam in the ambulance. By the way, this film is made by a total filmmaker. Vernon Snoop Robinson is credited as a producer, director, screenwriter, as well as the sole cinematographer and the sole editor.
Mm-hmm.
But when the shaky cam reveals that the white guy has joined Butch in the ambulance,
it was awesome.
We were like, oh.
Yeah, because this white guy is like the nicest guy ever. Apparently, he has a spirit of fucking Sir Charles in his heart.
That's true. He's kind of the second most pious individual in the film.
Only second to Sir Charles. Meanwhile, oh my god, the reason why he has this fucking heart attack and freaks out and shit is because he's stressed the fuck out because Sir Charles finds out that all of his money is gone.
Oh yeah, all of his money is gone, and he's like, Butch needs to answer for this.
Yeah, Butch, answer your calls, man. Answer your calls, man. Butch isn't answering because Butch is at the bar screaming at this white guy.
And then keeled over.
And
in an ambulance.
In an ambulance, his phone is blowing up, and Sir Charles is like, where the hell is Butch, man? And he's like, he took all of my money, and I don't have money to do the Christmas concert now to pay the artists. None of the artists.
I need to pay everybody.
None of the artists for the Christmas concert have been paid. Like,
so they're not showing up.
So they're not showing up. They just trusted me.
Because they know I'm good on my word.
They just trusted me. Like, they thought they were going to get paid.
They know Sir Charles is a name you can trust.
Yeah, but, it wasn't like that, right? So, Butch goes to the hospital, but no one knows where he is now, right? Yeah. No one knows where he is. Everybody's freaking out. Butch has no next of kin. He has no parents.
But they find in his wallet at the hospital a business card for Sir Charles, and they call Shantae, and she picks up, and they're like, do you know anyone with the name
Mark Taylor?
And she's like, no.
And she immediately hangs up like a dummy.
Yeah, it's
and Sir Charles was like, who was on the phone? We were asking for it. We're like, it was the hospital calling for some Mark Taylor. I said he doesn't work here.
And Sir Charles is like, that's Butch's real name.
That's Butch's real name.
And it's also one of those things that's like, okay, if we were immediately going to go to the hospital because Sir Charles knows Mark Taylor is Butch's real name, what was the purpose of her hanging up the phone?
No, because it was to establish that she didn't know what his real name was. Because the stupid logic of this movie, I'm about to reveal the twist of this movie, but the stupid logic of this movie is that if she had known his last name, Taylor, which is her last name,
big reveal, folks,
she would know something significant about Butch, even though that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And if you remember the one thing about Shantae's plot, you can probably guess what's going to happen at the end of this movie. But so they rush to the hospital. They run into the white guy.
They run into the white guy. The white guy's like, I've been trying to go in. They only are letting family members in. The nurse is like, is anyone here family? They're all like, no. And then the nurse is like, wait, are you Shantae Taylor? And she's like, yeah, I'm Shantae Taylor. She's like, you're his sister. You're his sister.
Oh, my long-lost sibling.
Because the nurse just fucking knows. Because she was like, you were here earlier with you're looking for a sibling, right? And she's like, yeah. And it's like, oh, she was at the hospital.
Why was she at the hospital?
I thought that she was at the DNA place.
Yeah, like an office.
And like, oh, yeah, we were gonna tell you your sibling is Mark Taylor and Butch. Dude, it's like, it's so stupid that their last names are both Taylor, because it's like Butch was adopted as like an infant. Why would he retain the last name Taylor?
Yeah, he would have a different last name. As an infant, if you're adopted, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he was an orphan the entire time, but he was like an orphanage.
I don't know.
Because I don't know if this movie is functioning off of the assumption that orphanages exist in America still, which they do not.
He would have been in a foster home.
Yeah, he would have been in a foster home, probably retaining that last name of his foster parents.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or the fact that he was a baby up for adoption. Those are the most wanted.
I will say
small supply.
I will say
types of children.
I was drifting in and out of consciousness at this point.
You're almost dead.
Do we ever get the end of the thread of what's going on with Sir Charles's money?
Butch had stolen all of it to pay for his dialysis.
But so they
but
that's
thankfully,
okay.
But thankfully, so Butch is in a coma. Okay, so wait, hold on. Butch is in a coma. He's in a fucking coma.
Shantae's allowed to get back there because they're related.
Shantae gets back there. She's sitting with her brother. She sits with her brother for 3 days. Like Christ. Biblical imagery. Right, because it's 3 days before Christ rises.
Yeah, so she wasn't like Christ. Butch would have been.
Butch is like Christ in the situation. Okay.
Sure.
Shroud of Turin, covered up in his shrouds of Turin, laying in bed. She's sitting next to him. Then her mom finally comes on Christmas Day. And she's like fuck you. She doesn't say fuck you, but she's basically like, fuck you, Mom.
You didn't show up
You
this
didn't
whole
come
time.
up this whole.
This is your son.
This is your son. You're a horrible mother. I don't forgive you. And she walks out of the room. It's like, okay, cool. And then the mom lays by Butch's side. He's still in a coma. He's like, oh, he's in coma. And she's like apologizing to him. Like, I'm sorry. I'm such a horrible mother.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. I love you. I'll always be here for you now. I'm so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. And Butch wakes up and he's like, what? You're my mom? And she's like, yes, I'm your mom. I'm so sorry. And he looks at her and he goes, I hate you. And she's like, oh, yeah, I deserve that. I'm so sorry again. And he's like, all right, man, I forgive you.
That's so
Were you
funny.
awake for this part?
I don't remember that
yeah,
part.
he was like, I hate you. And she's like, yeah, I deserve it. I'm so sorry. Hopefully one day you can come to forgive you. He's like, yeah, I guess I can forgive you. And
That's
then
so good.
So Charles comes in later, and the doctor comes in, and the doctor's like, Butch, we didn't want to give it to you before the checks would clear, but I got some new grants for all of my patients.
Oh, yeah,
and here's
I
a check
that.
for $150,000.
This part I was awake for. They just completely like, oh, Butch, we didn't want to tell you.
We didn't want to tell you.
We're
The
telling
good
you
news
now,
is
the good news is, everything's paid for. And Sir Charles just, lets the indiscretion of using all of his money without his permission slide. Which I guess.
Well, Butch gives the check to Sir Charles.
Yeah.
Because the check is basically covering all of the things that he's already paid, because he's done, I guess. Because it's like he still needs to find out if he's going to get a kidney match donor. Now that he has living relatives.
I was thinking that.
It would be Shantae.
I was thinking that Sir Charles
would give his
kidney.
Well, I think they were saying that you have to have the right match donor. Maybe it's a blood type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Butch has a very rare blood type. So they're like, oh, for your family, we're gonna check to see if they're all willing to check. If their matches, then check. Okay, right. So it seems like he's still going to have to pay more money. But thankfully, the $150,000 is now covered by the hospital. It's now covered by the hospital through a grant, which was just kind of laughably hilarious.
Yeah,
the idea of
I don't know,
because the doctor was like, we got a grant for all my patients,
only
his patients.
I don't know how that works. I don't know. I know that hospitals do get grants, and
the
wealthy
grants
donors.
The grants are to make a wing. The grants
are
to
make a wing or buy new equipment.
The grants are to update the cafeteria.
Yeah. Give it the name of the wealthy benefactor that donated the money.
It's for the hospital director to get a new Ferrari.
So then what happened? Then the movie's over, right?
Yeah. But we get a PSA from.
Oh yeah, from the producer, one of the producers who's a NFL.
Yeah, he was a football player who was going through kidney dialysis, who is looking for a new kidney donor, and he lets us know that kidneys from living donors only last about 10 to 15 years, and kidneys from deceased donors only last about 5 to 7 years. So look into giving a kidney today. Yeah,
it's from Kelvin Garman.
You know what? The one of our final note that happens in the movie, Sir Charles is like, you know what we can do, man? We'll push back the Christmas concert because, all this happened. And instead, we're going to have a cancer awareness show and raise money for cancer. And Butch is like, that is so cool, man.
Yeah.
I think that's a line.
That's awesome. It's the film ends with a PSA from Kelvin Garman, who was an offensive guard for the Dallas Cowboys, San Diego Chargers, Cleveland Browns, and the Oakland Raiders. And it was kind of a shock, though, after watching the kind of last 30 minutes of the film, maybe not so much, that the film was a roundabout Christmas movie, Sir Charles Vanity Project PSA for kidney cancer.
Yeah.
So, a Sir Charles Christmas, all in all, this is another film from the year 2023, directed by, shot by, written by, produced by, edited by Vernon Snoop Robinson, who has a few kind of direct to DVD, direct to streaming kind of credits under his belt. Yeah. He has a film called Stolen Virginity.
Oh! Uh-oh.
Don't know anything about it.
Uh-oh. That seems like it might be an evil movie. We should watch that for fun.
Yeah, not for content.
Not for a podcast.
We watch films like this all the time. We watch films, directed streaming stuff all the time.
I had a phase where I was really into like evangelical Christian like D movies.
Yeah, and it's still very fun to do from time to time.
Yeah, I mean, I could watch 100,000 of those.
We would
for
do
hours.
Like weekends of watching movies like that.
Because the Gramps.
Yeah, Gramps goes to college in Gramps' shoes. Selfie Dad, which we mentioned last episode.
Selfie Dad, which is a conservative Christian evangelical film.
But A Sir Charles Christmas, directed by Vernon Snoop Robinson from 2023, available to stream on Tubi. Ava, what did you think of it? What is your snowball ranking review of the film?
So, I feel like I have to take this on the metric of relating it to a movie like A Drone for Christmas.
The drone that saved Christmas.
Sorry, A Drone that saved Christmas. I think I always think it's like a blank for Christmas.
Yeah,
I always think it's like a Sir Charles for Christmas.
Well, and that's how these movies always feel. Like they feel like a mannequin for Christmas, a drone for Christmas, an
dog
app
for
Christmas, a dog for Christmas.
But I want to relate it on that lens because it had like the kind of similar issue of like being about like nothing, like in terms of like
but also vaguely about
saving the people, like
everything,
like
charity,
like the drone stuff was all about like we have to save the world. In Sir Charles Christmas, like we have to put on like the Christmas
we have to help the
benefit,
community,
but we don't see the concert. We don't know what the concert is. We don't see the artists that are going to be in the concert. We don't see them preparing for a concert.
If we don't know if the
scope
of the concert is just a free concert or if it's like other stuff happens there that would help the community.
When we described this whole movie, even though it's about him putting on his Christmas concert, we did not talk about the concert once. Like when we described it, we didn't even talk about it.
I was thinking it would end with a song from Sir Charles, but he only sings once, and it's at the very beginning.
So that being said, I think that this movie would get 2.5 snowballs from me.
I'm in a similar spot. I'm giving this movie 2 snowballs.
I think it's a half snowball because that funny line where the white guy's like,
my
black father.
For one line.
I think that, what about John?
John?
What about the alcoholic dad who like did the magic trick walk away?
I mean, I did enjoy the film. Maybe it's a 2.5 snowball movie. What did I give Drone That Saved Christmas? I think that's better.
I gave Drone to Save Christmas 4 snowballs.
No, you didn't. What did I give it? I don't remember.
We need to start writing down our snowballs.
Yeah. But I think I'm going to go in with a 2.5 for this. Sir Charles Christmas. I did enjoy watching it. I did start falling asleep in the last 10 minutes. But I liked it. I thought it was funny. I thought it was, it's aesthetically, and again, like it's stupid to bring it up, but it is aesthetically a pretty ugly movie. And it's a little shaggy, but I do enjoy it. I think they did a lot of admirable work. A lot of the supporting cast is kind of funny.
Yeah, I guess it's actually not that good because like I think of like A New Husband for Christmas.
Oh, the David Dakota, Vivica A. Fox movie?
No,
the very low budget.
That's A New Husband for Christmas.
Like church group movie. Yeah.
And
I think that film is
I think it's similar. To
has
that
some striking ensemble performances.
Yeah, and that movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it's evil though. That movie's evil though. That movie's evil.
It's ideological.
There's strong dogmas in that movie about like how marriage should work.
Christmas movies, all apolitical. Every piece of art is political, but I don't know the politics of this.
Christmas should just be about like a little robot that sits at the end of your bed as a little boy.
This is a segue to the next film, but to put a pin in Sir Charles Christmas, watch it. Maybe don't. It's boring mostly, but it's kind of fun. I don't know.
Watch the trailer. You'll find the trailer way funnier than the movie itself.
So, A Sir Charles for Christmas. We're going to transition now into our second film.
Wait, what's your official snowball rating? 2.5?
2.5. Okay. 2.5 snowballs for Sir Charles.
Yeah, all right. Let's transition.
It's Friday. So the year is 2016. Donald Trump is the 45th president of the United States.
David Bowie just died.
The Life of Pablo Kanye West album has come out, and I mentioned this for a reason. It's time for 2016's Christmas All Over Again, the sole directorial effort from Christy Carlson Romano, who you might know from the Disney Channel original series Even Stevens, and as the voice of Kim Possible.
Kim Possible.
Christy Carlson Romano.
If you want to meet me.
Christy Carlson Romano's sole directorial effort, Christmas All Over Again from 2016, is a lot to take.
So, the thing that made us watch this movie is the description.
Description of it, which I'll read. It's on Letterboxd. The description is: a mischievous, swag-obsessed boy must overcome his inner Scrooge or remain caught in a cycle where every day is Christmas without any presents.
So this is Groundhog Day.
The film starts with voiceover from a voice that we eventually learn is the dog.
It's the dog for no reason.
But it starts.
The dog is so cute, though.
It's a cute little dog named Oscar.
He's a total scruffumuffin little dog.
And he is the
best actor in the film.
No, I don't. I think this film has good acting. It has a lot of he
was a good dog actor, though.
Television actors from Hollywood, like the established Hollywood television act. Christy Carlson Romano herself is in the film. She plays the female lead.
Yeah, and she's great.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
I was being sarcastic.
Ooh. I think she does a fine job. I think she does a kind of a Disney Channel style of acting and plays the parent.
Well, I think that
in a Disney Channel.
Well, but I think it's funny that you're directing your movie and you're like, I'm gonna play the beautiful bride.
That's true. She is in a wedding dress for the majority of the film.
I really want to know if she was married at the time,
or if this was a fantasy fulfillment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she's probably married. I don't know. We can
maybe
honestly,
you could marry her, and how about you just marry her, Will?
It's a good question.
Does it say Christy Carlson Romano is a married woman?
Is married to American stage and film actress.
Is a married actress.
Look it up.
See if it's on Wikipedia.
Boop, 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 boop.
Christy Carlson Romano married. Something only creepy men would type into Google.
Personal life.
Oh no, she struggled with depression and self-harm and alcohol abuse. All right, well, she was great in this movie. I'm sorry. You
fucking asshole. No, she was married in
she went to Barnard.
Yeah.
I wanted to go there.
She got married in November of 2011.
Okay.
Or December of 2013.
Okay, so she was married, but she got married in December. I wonder if she had a Christmas wedding like this bitch in this movie.
Anyway.
Wait. Before we get into this movie, is a Christmas wedding the most obnoxious thing a human being can do other than a New Year's Eve wedding?
I guess, yeah.
I think it's so obnoxious.
There is...
Everyone, come celebrate me!
There is a reason for the Christmas wedding, which I don't know if it justifies the kind of inconvenience of it all. But
I'm not on this kid's side in this movie.
Oh, God, no.
Because the kid is so annoying.
It would be very difficult to be on the kid's side.
Yeah, because it's something that you have to kind of suck up. But, oh, my God. There's so many days in a year.
Yeah. However, so it starts with voiceover of the dog, we come to find out. And the voiceover says, right off the bat, have you ever heard of that one old movie where that guy gets stuck in the same day in that town in Pennsylvania?
I think his name started with a B or something.
I think the actor's name was Bill something. I don't know. But our story's Christmas. And it's ooh, boy.
Jingle swag, jingle
swag,
jingle all the way.
There is a ska version of Jingle Bells that takes the place of the Sonny and Cher song in Groundhog Day in this movie every morning. So every 5 to 15 minutes, you are treated to a ska rendition of Jingle Bells that's jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, it's magnificent. It's exactly the type of movie you want to be watching. It's the movie. This is a type of movie that made us start this podcast.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is the shit that we're really into ultimately.
Yeah, it's because and this is a half decent movie surrounding a central character that is just completely obnoxious.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing about this movie is that this movie intellectually is stuck in the year 2004.
Yeah. So
really in like a kind of shocking fundamental way. I mean, make it like, whoa, like, why are you characterizing anyone in this way? It isn't 2004.
Yeah, so...
Like, between the way was... I mean, the boy saying swag, which is not a 2004 word. I would attribute the height of swag as, like, a subculture between, like, 2008...
to, like, 2012?
To 2012, probably, would be, like, the height of, like, swag. Like, got my swag snapback on.
There is a scene where our lead character, Eddie Kirkpatrick, does, in kind of... He becomes his self-actualized, idealized version of himself, and that does include wearing a gold-brimmed snapback that says swag with 2 G's.
Yeah, it's like that wasn't happening in 2016.
No.
Lots of cringy things were happening in 2016. Culturally, well, we'll get into it later, like what cultural things they were trying to reference with swag.
So he our film centers around, again, Eddie Kirkpatrick, played by Sean Ryan Fox, who doesn't do a bad job, but the character and how he's being directed and how he's written, he is the most incessantly annoying, obnoxious unlikable presence in a movie that could possibly exist, maybe.
Yeah, there's very little redeeming him, and there's no way that anyone could be on his side for any of the decisions that he makes.
Yeah,
which, like, in Groundhog Day, if I recall, I haven't seen Groundhog Day in a really long time, but one of the conceits of, Bill Murray's a total asshole in Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah, he's a
total asshole, but also, like, the town does fucking suck.
Yeah, and Bill Murray is also, he strikes, I mean, his whole shtick, his entire thing is he plays assholes, but he plays them in a way that are kind of perversely charming, as well as sometimes he can feel, I don't always feel this way in his films. I actually think Groundhog Day doesn't entirely work for me.
Yes, it's not my favorite film.
His performance in Ghostbusters is my favorite Bill Murray asshole performance. And I think he's a good actor.
But what I was saying, though, it's like
but
even...
He keeps you at a good distance, where you also can sometimes... The best Bill Murray asshole performances, he can be an avatar for when your inner monologue is at its worst.
Yeah, and I guess with Groundhog Day, what I'm saying is, like, you can kind of, like, be on his side, like, somewhat subtly, because you're like, oh yeah, I mean, like, it's dumb that in Puxatawny, Pennsylvania, there's, like, this whole groundhog, like...
Yeah, it's
tradition holiday.
It's kitschy
it's dumb, and if you're not into that, it's like an annoying thing.
Yeah,
and it's like he's like a reporter, he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I actually do not really remember the plot of Groundhog Day.
Well, it's very similar to Christmas all over again.
But in any meaningful way. I know that he like tries to like fuck the one girl.
Yeah. Andie MacDowell.
And like,
he plays like jazz piano at one point.
Yeah, it's probably like problematic the way he tries to seduce the girl. If we watched it now in like 2023,
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I watched it recently.
He's like manipulating.
I thought
her.
It was decent. I like I found
like he's like manipulating her, much like our character in this movie.
Yeah, much like Eddie Kirkpatrick.
Let's stop talking about fucking Groundhog Day.
Even though the movie begs you to talk about Groundhog Day.
They're like, please think about Groundhog Day.
But so, Eddie Kirkpatrick, we enter the film through Eddie's brother Zach, played by Colin Smith, and his father.
His adult brother, by the way, like very much adult, like not like young adult, not like his brother who's like 18.
Yeah.
Like and I think there's an important distinction to like really get into like why this movie is so dumb. His brother who's like fucking 35 years old. Okay.
Yeah, his brother who's very much
in his 30s,
a full grown man.
He's coming home for the holidays, and also incidentally his wedding, which is going to be at the family house.
Yeah, so his wife is played by Christy Carlson Mormano, Marilyn, and they are getting married on Christmas for a reason that will be later revealed.
Yeah.
And so they've got Mr. Kirkpatrick, played by Wally Dunn. Again, like, the supporting cast in this movie is doing a decent job. These are people that are, very much like career character actors, television actors. Zach and Mr. Kirkpatrick are both, well acted performances. Yeah. They're like, where's Eddie? Cut to Eddie in a field with his friend Taz, played by Armani Jackson. They're on a inflatable toboggan sled, and he's like, "This is gonna be sick, dude. If we don't make it through this, it's been real, Taz." And they just like go sledding.
Mind you,
going down a sort of steep hill.
If they just adjusted the angle of the camera by like fucking like 2 degrees, we wouldn't be able to see that there's like a clear line where the fake artificial snow stops.
There is,
and it becomes just regular grass.
There is a very clear straight line of
like a sharp line.
The snow blanket that we can see.
It's ridiculous that they didn't just change the angle or move or buy some more fucking fake snow.
For the rest of the film, the false snow looks very good.
Except at that one part where they have some gay Italian stereotypes. The two gay Italians.
We actually should get into that because they show up in the next scene. Yeah,
but the two gay Italians, like, they slip on some snow, and the first time you see it, because it's Groundhog Day, so you see it twice. The first time you see it, it like looks realistic, but the second time you see it, you can tell, but it's literally like stuffing, like fluff stuffing. That cracked me the fuck up when I saw that.
So
like a big like chunk of stuffing flies up in the air when they slip on the snow.
Eddie gets told to come home and picked up by his father to come home to help his brother prepare for his wedding, which is being planned by the Rinaldi brothers, Antonio and Francesco. Antonio played by Massimo Dobrovic, and Francisco played by Tom DiNucci, one of which, Francisco, I believe, is a very flamboyant archetype who has an Italian accent.
Yeah.
However, Antonio has like a Brooklyn accent and is a little bit more like muscle bound.
Yeah, I guess they gave both of these guys the direction like, you're both Italian, but they didn't say
different stereotypes.
But yeah, you're both Italian. You're like a gay guy and you're like a muscle guy, but they didn't say like Italian from Italy or Italian from America. So the one guy interpreted it as Italian from America.
Yeah.
And the other guy interpreted it as like Italian, like straight from Italy, like gay Italian guy.
But so they're, the whole movie they're doing their shtick.
Yeah.
There's like a whole like, the boutonnieres, they're raspberry, not cranberry. I'm sorry, but Marilyn wants a Rinaldi brothers wedding. If it's the wrong berry on the boutonnieres, that's not a Rinaldi brothers wedding.
Yeah, like that was funny AF.
Yeah, and that's their whole thing.
It was not actually funny. It was stupid, and I hated it.
It was not enjoyable, and we're not gonna get into any more of their shenanigans that's not plot based.
Yeah,
that's their shtick.
Yeah, because
the Rinaldi brothers are,
again, talk about like 2004.
Yes.
Like, oh my god.
And Eddie finds them detestable.
He hates these Italians. He always calls them the wrong names. X, Y, and Z.
He calls them like Mercutio.
Yeah, which was actually funny. That one was funny.
He calls them all sorts of names, which again, problematic.
Well, that's not even like problematic. That's just like boring. I mean, it's just boring. I don't even want to talk about that. What I do want to talk about is that Eddie loves swag.
Yeah, so Eddie comes home.
Because he wants one thing for Christmas.
Eddie comes home and he's having trouble setting up for the wedding, and there's this whole thing with the doves. He brings them in and they fly up and they fly all over Marilyn, the fiance, and they poop on her. And he's like, oh, it was so my fault. And he's like bragging about it to Taz on the phone. And he sees on television a commercial for the one thing he wants for Christmas. Because Eddie is kind of like a 20... like... It takes place in 2016, but he's like a hype beast.
Well, I mean, like,
kid.
Hype beast works for 2016. The more interesting thing is like the way it's all kind of laid out feels like kind of old.
Yeah,
like it reminds me of the early 2000s. Like,
there's like
in that brand of consumerism versus the very real brand of consumerism that happened in the mid 2010s. There's just like distinctions between like the language around it and how kids would act.
He sees a TV ad for featuring the musician and performer Todrick Hall as a rapper fashion designer named Young Breezy,
who's very braggadocious,
ostentatious. Let's just say his shoes are called Breezes.
Yeah, he's selling his Breezy 3000.
I think the Breezes makes me think he's supposed to be an allegory for a certain generation defining rapper fashion designer who may have recently given a baffling rant in Las Vegas on a live stream.
Yeah. And so like even like him watching on TV like an ad for like the shoes,
a TV commercial,
feels so like early 2000s, like reminds me of being like a kid, as opposed to like what was going on in our teenage
years. And it kind of has the aesthetics of that as well.
Was there ever like a commercial on television for Yeezys?
No, I mean it was all like marketing. The
marketing was through social media. The marketing was just like
street billboards, posters.
Incredibly influential streetwear during that time. And obviously they're referencing Yeezys. Obviously. Even though the shoe that they have looks like a Jordan with like clay on top of it.
Yeah, like Velcro. Yeah. But he's got this song where he's like, I want to get myself some Breezy 3000s. Breezy 3000.
He has this one line about like, I'm on eBay in my grandmom's basement.
Oh, yeah, he used to sell shoes on eBay in his grandmother's basement. But now he's living large, selling Breezy 3000s.
Yeah, and it's like...
And Eddie is like, I've got to get these shoes. They're the most cherished swag item.
They're the most swag cool thing. My swag would be amazing if I had these shoes.
And maybe the girl that I like will look at me.
Yeah, and you know...
But she's too old for me, man.
It's this reaction of, if you really want to get into it, it's like this reactionary fear of like how black culture is influencing white suburban teenagers, you know.
That's true.
But right though, like you know,
there's an element
like,
of that.
How ridiculous! Look at this little white boy.
Look how ridiculous he is.
Like reacting to this clown on television, because we all know that Breezy is a clown.
Yeah.
And he's reacting to this clown on television, and you know he wants to dress like him.
Imagine the absurdity
of this. It's a total like it's super reactionary.
It definitely has that undertone.
You can tell that the director's some old ass woman.
Yeah.
Old ass woman making this commentary. And was just so shocked that like young white children might want to dress like their favorite rapper, which is like a common like criticism that you can see on like Nickelodeon, the Disney Channel in the early 2000s and aughts. That's why it's just so weird. It feels like it's like this like I mean, it's so funny because I'm talking about it's like a dumb movie, but like it's such like tread upon territory. That like I'm like I can't think of it specifically, but like that's definitely something that would be on like a Nickelodeon original movie.
But
back in the day,
Eddie wants it. He's got the young Breezy poster above his bed. It's the one thing he wants for Christmas. He tells his dad that it's the one thing he wants for Christmas. He needs the Breezys under the treesy, is what he says.
I want the Breezys under the treesy. It's also the way he talks about like Breezys reminds me also in terms of feeling outdated of like for shizzle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it has that kind of sheen to it.
Because white people couldn't believe like the faux shizzle, like that whole thing.
Yeah,
they couldn't believe that. So why would anyone speak in this way?
Or I feel like white people couldn't conceptualize the word cray cray. Or they were like, what a ridiculous utterance.
Yeah, that's cray-cray. And they would say, I feel like that's in a lot of, like, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like,
or
media.
Mid-2000s.
Like, making fun of, like, teenagers and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way that he's talking about breezy under the treesy.
I need some breezies under the treesy. Or even the way he uses swag.
Yeah. Although, I guess, like, Kanye West would be like, I'm going to put my Yeezys under the treesy.
Yeah.
While going on an evil rant of the Kanye and the Third Reich.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see a sequel to this movie and see if, like, Eddie is, like, on, like, the Breezy subreddit, like, doing group buys for Young Breezy demos. And Young Breezy is, like, living in, like, Dubai now because he can't live in the United States.
Eddie's trying to reconcile his love for the music and the influence that Breezy had on him as a young man with Breezy's current statements.
Yeah, I miss the old Breezy. Anyway,
the Breezy 3000.
We're getting too lost in the Kanye allegory, and we're getting too lost in the
But it's just so interesting.
And this is what caused us to watch the film, was this child's obsession with swag, and he's obsessed with swag in the most abstract way. His like ideal outfit, and again, it's maybe stupid to criticize because like this movie's just trying to be like, you know, holiday content you put on. It doesn't really matter.
They're trying to model it after a Disney or
a DCOM, Disney Channel original movie. It's probably the highest quality version of this, and I would say it kind of gets close-ish.
And Disney isn't like, you know, like completely like too good for something this bad.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this
Sneakerella.
Sneakerella? Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
the
you know
Disney
what I
Plus
mean?
movie. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They'll make something dumb.
And
But Sneakerella might have actually been good.
Sneakerella seemed like it could have been okay.
Actually, Sneakerella seemed like it was culturally sensitive and interesting.
Yeah,
now that I think about it.
Yeah, and the kid...
Sorry, that was reactionary of me.
Yeah.
That was reactionary. Sneakerella is actually probably a good movie. I'll give it a chance when I'm not boycotting Disney anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the I guess the plot focuses very much on the swag obsession, and the swag obsession is realized in a strange way. His ideal outfit is like a black t-shirt with a bunch of like colorful dollar signs on it.
Dollar.
A gold-brimmed snapback that says swag with 2 G's, the breezy 3000s, and like a thin gold chain. and like it's just an interesting conception. But so the plot proper picks up. It's Christmas morning, the day of the wedding.
What are we talking about? We have to see. That's when we first. Oh no, continue. Sorry.
So it's Christmas morning. So he wakes up. We have the ska, jingle bells, jingle bells,
jingle all the
and
way.
Oscar the dog is sleeping in his bed. Rips one. He makes out a nasty doggy fart, and he goes like, "Oh, Oscar!" And then Eddie's robot says, "Merry Christmas, Eddie." And we'd seen the robot before, I think, and he says some other words like, "How are you, Eddie?"
But there's no ever
and
like
Eddie never. The entire movie. This robot talks to Eddie every single morning, and Eddie just goes like, just looks around. He never talks to the robot. There's never any mention. Did he build this robot? Does the robot have another purpose? The robot shows up at the... Spoilers, folks. The robot shows up at the wedding at the end. He's talking to people. He's dancing.
It's like when like Anakin builds C-3PO.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, there's no reason... Like, why is Eddie Kirkpatrick also...
He's literally like Anakin
Skywalker. Why did he build C-3PO? Why is there this
There's
robot?
No reason. Well,
there's no reason. Because we never get explained the robot. I love that he's there.
It's because Eddie's robot is a service robot.
What is C-3PO is a human cyborg relation. He's a protocol droid.
Yeah, protocol droid. He made a protocol droid.
Merry Christmas,
But
Eddie.
why would a slave Anakin need a protocol droid in Tatooine? We love Star Wars.
Episode 1 exclusively.
We love Episode 1.
Yeah. Best movie.
But so we didn't really touch on this, but Eddie fucking...
That's like the best bad movie to watch with people.
Yeah, I love Episode 1.
And this is something, going into this season, I had a moral question. I was like, I really want to make sure that we're not just dunking on low budget movies. That I'm so over that. That's so passé to put yourself above people that made a movie.
People that are just trying to make a fucking movie.
The best bad movie is Phantom Menace. That's the most like...
Because it's the opposite of a low budget movie.
It is.
It is an infinitely high budget movie.
And it's awful. It's terrible and it's funny.
What we really need to watch, Battlefield Earth.
Oh, yeah.
The Travolta movie.
Maybe one year we can do like if we get into like a 5th season, we can watch the Star Wars holiday special as like a special treat.
Maybe.
But that's
know.
such tread.
Everybody
in
their mothers have talked about the Star Wars holiday special.
Yeah.
And now we're past the need for our Star Wars holiday special because we had the Guardians of the Galaxy special.
Yeah. Yet again, I'm not watching Disney Plus right now. But if I ever do again, one thing I'd like to see is the Star Wars holiday special up there. But they're cowards. They won't put it up there.
Yeah. Well, so one thing we haven't talked about in this movie really is that little baby Eddie, who is like fucking like, I think he's supposed to be like a freshman in high school, maybe that age, but he looks like he's fucking like
9th, 10th grade.
But he looks pretty old.
I mean, he looks like he's 20.
He doesn't look like he's 20.
Yeah, he does.
But he looks like a teenage, like a fully a teenager.
He looks like a young looking 20-year-old.
And I think for anything that he does in this movie to be justifiable, he would have to be like 12.
They needed to age him down. They needed to make him a rascally middle schooler. He needed to be the age of Kevin in Home Alone.
Well, Kevin in Home Alone is like fucking like 4.
No, he's not.
Look him up. He's like, look at a photo of Kevin in Home Alone. He's like 4 in that movie.
Macaulay Culkin?
He's a baby. He's a baby in that movie.
He's 12.
Look up.
He's got to be 11.
And he's 11 in Lost in New York when he meets Trump, but in the first Home Alone, let me look it up.
Are y'all hearing this?
How
Are you guys hearing
old
her?
is
Kevin McAllister in Home Alone 1.
Culkin
in Home Alone.
Home Alone.
There's no way.
1.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, this is saying that he's 43 years old currently, but that's not what I'm looking for.
He recently got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
He's 8 years old.
All right, well.
So he's a baby.
He maybe needed
He's a baby.
Okay, so he needed to be older than Kevin in Home Alone.
He needed to be 12. He needed
to be a middle schooler.
He needed to be 12. So what I'm going to say is, because he's so old, the way he is acting about his adult brother, who presumably no longer even lives with him.
He doesn't live with him.
Getting married and referring to this occasion as a she-wolf ruining the wolf pack is insane.
It's maybe...
And he insanely hates the bride so much that he purposely tries to, like, ruin her wedding.
Yeah, with, like, little pranks.
And he hates her.
He hates her.
He hates her for no reason.
She's, like, getting ready for the wedding on Christmas Day in the bathroom, like, in her wedding dress. And he's like, get out of the bathroom. Why won't you get out of the bathroom? And to, like, get back at her, he takes a picture of her in her wedding dress and sends it to his brother.
Like that's insane. Why would that's not funny? Like that's and that's also like the kid looks like he's 16 in this movie. I know you think he looks like he's 20, but I think he's probably supposed to be 14, but he looks like maybe he's 16 or 17 in this movie.
He's supposed to be a young high schooler because there's a senior girl he has a crush on, and she's too old for him.
Yeah, but I mean he doesn't. But he looks the same age as her in this movie.
Yes.
So it's kind of a moot point.
But so he like goes out with his friend Taz.
What I'm saying is
who's Jewish, who celebrates Hanukkah, so he's out and around on.
And his friend Taz looks like he's 12, so it's like why wouldn't you cast a other 12-year-old?
So Taz and Eddie are out on the town. They go to get gingerbread pancakes.
Sorry, COVID ASMR. I'm like snorting and sniffing.
They go to get gingerbread pancakes, and he talks about how annoying it is that there's no presents on Christmas morning.
Okay, yeah, because his dad, when on Christmas morning he goes down and he sees a tree, there's no presents. His dad is like, we're not going to do presents this morning.
We're doing presents the day after Christmas because it's the wedding today.
Yeah, we're not going to focus on...
And you need to practice your best man speech.
Yeah, and this little asshole kid is not ruining the fucking best man speech.
No. I mean, and so he hangs out with Taz all day.
You know what would have been so much better in this movie? Is if we had like a build towards the end when he realizes that he has to do the right thing, where he continually every day has to like do his best man speech and tries to make it better and better each time.
Oh, that would have been a good emotional...
Right? Like first being like very superficial when writing it.
And he spends like maybe one day he spends one of the Christmases just completely getting the speech right. And he's like writing it.
Yeah, but it's not about the speech, it's about like his behavior and like, truly loving his brother and the decisions that he's making. Yeah. Wow, the movie doesn't suck as much now.
Yeah, and there's a bit of that, but it's not as
it would have been nice if it was built out a little bit more.
Yeah. But so he like throws a snowball at the boyfriend who he calls like
oh my god,
a young Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, he's like I have no chance against him. He's like a young Schwarzenegger. It's like what fucking year is this?
Yeah, I don't know.
In 2016 there was no young boys being like the coolest.
If only I could look as gorgeous as Arnold Schwarzenegger.
It's like Arnold Schwarzenegger is like fucking like 75 in 2016. You know what the kids are saying? Well, now the kids are like, "Oh, he looks like a young Mr. Beast," but he looks like Logan Paul.
He looks like a young Jake Paul. He looks like a young.
He looks like Jake Paul. He's so
Andrew
hot.
Tate.
Man, her boyfriend's so cool. He looks like a young Andrew Tate. Bald.
Weird. But so he throws a snowball at him, but it hits the girl, and then the guy chases after him, and. It's like, I gotta escape. And the kid...
He steals his young friend's hoverboard.
Yeah, he steals Taz's hoverboard. And so he uses the hoverboard and he goes to this shoe shop.
So he walks by the shop that looks like a shed that you'd buy from like Costco for your house.
The
but
actor
it's a shop.
The actor that's in there is Joey Lawrence is credited as Magic Shoe Store owner. So I guess it's supposed to be a
Lawrence
magic.
in a bunch of things.
He looked very familiar.
He looked so freaking familiar.
He is a working actor. He's in the TV. He was in the TV show Blossom.
I don't know any of these. Oliver and Company as a voice.
Yeah. He was Joey on Melissa and Joey.
That doesn't mean much to me.
That was like a freeform original.
But he's in Zootopia.
He's in Zootopia Plus, the TV show on Disney.
Oh my God, they made a TV show?
Apparently, he was in a Roe versus Wade. Uh-oh. Yeah, he was in the reactionary Stacey Dash starring.
Sometimes all you have to do is look at the poster for a movie. Well, okay, I haven't seen him in anything.
Voight, yeah.
I haven't seen him in anything, but he looks so incredibly familiar. It's shocking.
Well, he's a television actor. He's in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he's probably in the background. Like he's like one of those guys.
He's probably in the back rooms.
Yeah, he's in the back rooms. Well, you know, when you have dreams, right? You never like imagine like a new face. You just are like seeing in your dreams, like.
So you see Joey Lawrence from Melissa and Joey in your dreams.
No, I'm saying like it's like when you have like a dream, and there's faces in it. It's just like random people that you've seen just like walking down the street and shit, and like extras in movies and shit. Those are like the random people in your dreams that you don't know who they are. They aren't like
just like people you see on the subway.
Yeah, they're not like created in your head. Like it's not like a new person. It's not like an AI generated new person. You know, it's like someone who already exists. So like maybe I can use familiar because
is that like really?
Yes, that's facts. That's how the human brain works. There's actually like a Joe Rogan episode. So the thing about dreams is
this is turning into a Joe Rogan type topic.
No, it's true. It's the way the human brain.
That study? Can we pull that up?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and what people don't tell you about dreams is that that's actually your brain telling you what you want to do.
What I was saying is like
he has like, that kind of face.
He's like a filler person that like I've probably seen a bunch of times, like, but I've never like identified who he is as a human being.
Okay, yeah.
So that's why I was like, oh, he's familiar, but like he was probably in the background of like 3 shows that I've seen.
Yeah, or like had like a day player part on like a sitcom you saw.
Yeah. And maybe maybe I had a dream one night where there was a bunch of people in the subway and he was one of those people there.
Gotcha. So he's in there.
So he's in this movie and he's in this little shed with one breezy 3000.
Yeah, what brings Eddie into the shed is he's like, "No way. They got the breezy 3000s in there?"
He doesn't sound like that.
he says, "No way."
No way.
And he goes in because he wants the breezy 3000s, and Joey Lawrence is like, you see something that you like, and he's like, I don't know, he in a roundabout way, Eddie says something like, I wish I could get my Christmas back because Eddie is so stupidly pissed off that he has to wait one more day to get his presents, but he's like, my Christmas has been ruined. Yeah, by my new by the she-wolf that is invading the wolf pack. Entering the Kirkpatrick wolf pack. Ow! Literally a line. Yeah. Literally a line. That he does with his brother. And with his dad at one point. The wolf pack. Yeah. Ow! So, I always wish I could have my Joey Lawrence like, is that what you really want? You really want you want your Christmas again? Which... If someone were to say that to me, I would think... I'm dealing with a wizard right now. I'm dealing with a genie or a wizard or an angel or an elf. Something like that. Yeah. Or perhaps Saint Nick, even. Certainly just one of the sons of God. A magical figure. And so, he draws a little infinity on the screen, pushes it, and then... you're like, oh, okay. Eddie, yeah. When Eddie wakes up tomorrow, we're gonna hear, "Jingle bells, jingle, Merry Christmas, Eddie." And then in the rest of the day, he comes home, and this really pissed me off. He comes home, fakes that he's sick. Yeah, he comes home, he pretends that he's sick, so he's able to miss the entire wedding. Yeah, and like when he comes home, everybody's pissed at him. Everybody's like,
Eddie, why'd you send the photo?
Eddie, you've been gone all day. You sent the photo of the dress to Zach. He wasn't supposed to see the dress. They are fuming with him. And Eddie's like,
I'm sick. I need to go bed.
I need to go lay down. And he like texts us. We cut to later that night. You hear the wedding downstairs. You hear like a muffled speech. You hear muffled applause. You hear muffled music. And Eddie like sends a text to his brother that's like, yo, Z, sorry, man. I'm still feeling so fucked up. I can't make it to the wedding. And Zach is like, bummer. We really wanted you here. Feel better.
Truly, the brother is truly so, what's the word?
Apathetic?
No, he's very good at negotiating the situation and being very calm about it.
Yeah. Well, I would be
very pragmatically like,
I would be
you know
furious.
What? I am very happy that you're not here right now.
That's true. I would feel like furious. It's like, oh my God, he can't get it together. But it would also kind of be like, geez, maybe it's better that he's not here.
Yeah, after how nasty he was
and
all to my wife.
all the weddings but one of them, it seems like that was the second best wedding other than the ending wedding.
Yeah,
it was the night that he wasn't there.
Yeah, this night was probably the best night.
Other than the ending.
Yeah. You don't know what I'm saying is like this night for him was probably. Oh yeah. I thought you said
the best version of the wedding. Yeah.
But other than the fact that Eddie like purposely terrorized the wife, made her cry.
Yeah.
Made her cry, terrorized her
on her
morning,
wedding day.
On the wedding day. Other than that, I mean, like it looked like the ceremony went off without a hitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I don't see the point in like going for like every Groundhog Day.
But yeah, so yeah, he wakes up the next day and he's like, "What?"
Yeah, and it's Groundhog Day, right? But I guess we could talk about the notable things that happen.
Yeah.
Without just going for all the days.
I think that makes the most sense because it's a lot of days. It's a lot of the same stuff. It's Groundhog Day, folks. He wakes up, the dog farts, the robot says Merry Christmas, Eddie.
Which makes us laugh every single fucking time.
Merry Christmas, Eddie.
Because we're like, who is this robot?
But so
why does he have a robot?
He is, kind of shocked. He's like, what? He's like, Dad, are you playing a prank on me?
Yeah. The day that he
pours the coffee in the flowers that the Italians are using, which is just another shitty thing he does.
He does it the first day and he does it the second day because he's like, why not? Like asshole.
It's like just to be safe.
Like, oh my God,
Eddie.
But yeah, so once he does finally realize that he's in like a time loop, he does have one day where he's like, I can do whatever the f I want.
Yeah.
And in one of
there are no consequences.
Yeah, and in one of them he uses he takes out a credit card in his brother's name at the fucking Foot Locker.
Yeah, at the shoe store. And he gets a pair of Breezy 3000s as well as all the bells and whistles. That noise is, I think it's touching some other piece of technology, one of our cables.
Do you want to pause really quick and figure it out?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay,
it's gone. I'll just be mindful. Anyway,
he's always saying, "But I'm kicking the wires because I'm wrapping my toes through the wires." But maybe it's actually you that's kicking the wires, wrapping your little toesies in it.
Anyway, so Eddie gets all the bells and whistles, which is where he gets his fully swagged out outfit. One touch that we really like is when he comes home, everyone's like, "Whoa, where'd you get those clothes?" And the one Italian, the more flamboyant Italian, is like, "You look great, Eddie." He gives him a smile.
Yeah, he's fucking with the
He
fit.
respects the drip.
He respects the drip. And his brother in that day is like, our dad was gonna buy you all those. Literally, I mean, like those are literally your gifts for tomorrow. And he's like, whatever.
That's there's also like
yeah, no shit. Like, why are you like? Because like so much of his days before he like realizes like, oh, I need to be good to end the time loop. Surround like I need to get my Yeezy 3000s today.
Yeah,
and it's like, bro.
Well,
like
he also
breezy.
he meets up with Taz. They like throw a bomb at some ducks.
Yeah, they explode a duck.
They also like drink all the hot cocoa of some like little girls selling Christmas cocoa.
Yeah.
They also like they do a bunch of shenanigans with the girl that he has a crush on.
Yeah, that stuff is super uninteresting to me.
They like sled race the boyfriend.
Yeah, that happens kind of near the end, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the fun and games of like the Groundhog stuff is kind of like uninteresting. Also, kind of like how I feel with the actual movie Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
it's like I cannot remember shit that happens in that movie.
Yeah, and he at the wedding, the one night where he's like, I can get away with anything, he wears his breezies that he's bought for himself, and he tells like this old
trolls
woman,
this old lady with like dementia or whatever,
and he says that he's a robot from the future come to destroy her.
Mm-hmm.
And when he has to give the rings to Zach and Marilyn, she like freaks out
because right before that he like does like a little robot dance, like like and she sees it,
and she's like.
So then when he gives the ring, she's like, he's a robot, don't let him touch those rings.
And she throws her red wine,
and it lands all over the wedding dress,
Marilyn's wedding dress, and
you know it ruins the wedding.
So he's banished upstairs.
Yeah, because he's just like a fucking like asshole fucking kid.
And his dad says, your mother would be so disappointed in you.
It's like facts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she would be. I mean, at the very least, for that act. Maybe not in general, but...
Yeah.
I think something else that's notable to mention is when he goes to the like Foot Locker or wherever to get the breezies, there's this...
Sales associate.
Sales associate named Frankfurt, and he's wearing a comic book character on his shirt named Blue Swan.
Yeah.
And he says like this line that's like,
yeah, I love the blue hair, and
I love the girl with I love the badass nerdy girl with the blue hair that kicks butt.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh boy.
Yeah, but that actually
Holy
later
cow.
tips Eddie off to realize, you know, maybe I should set up Frankfurt with my crush, because my crush has a strand of blue hair, which means that she must be a fan of the same comic book as him, which is kind of funny.
And after they like,
because does she ever mention like, oh, I'm really into? Yeah, so it's like dumb.
They also like, one thing that I think is interesting is she mentions like, Eddie, you're too old for me. And I kind of and
too young,
or Eddie, you're too young for
because
me
she's 19. She's 19 and he's 12, so you know.
Yeah, she's like, Eddie, you're too young for me. I like you as a friend, but I don't like you. And I kind of like that the movie goes with the direction of like, oh, he's gonna set her up with a guy that might be better for her than her like super like
abusive,
mean at least boyfriend that she's with right now.
Yeah.
And
who looks like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. And the guy that plays Frankfurt is an actor named Gabriel Rush, who is in the Grand Budapest Hotel in Moonrise Kingdom.
You know what? He had such a little familiar face.
Yeah,
I was thinking that I had seen him in something before.
But so I mean, I'm trying to think like what.
Yeah, I mean like
Merry Christmas, Eddie.
Merry Christmas, Eddie. Robot dog fart. Eventually he breaks the loop by being a good kid. Yeah,
he does some an earnest speech at his there's on the one day he gives like a really shitty snotty speech because he hears Marilyn call him selfish.
Yeah, which is so funny. So to prove that he is not selfish, she does a speech where he's like, my brother sucks and we're completely different and I don't like him and I guess I'm so selfish, and he ruins the wedding.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, you suck.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you just proved right.
But yeah, he helps the girls.
Again, this would work so much better if this kid like appeared to be like 12 or 13. Yeah. So then you can kind of like, because like when you're 12 and 13, like that is like when you are the worst human that you will ever be, right?
Yeah, you're not nice.
I was not a good little human being.
I mean, I guess
at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was like you're sweet in some ways, but in other ways you're very like self-serving, selfish, stupid.
You don't really conceptualize other people's emotions.
And you're still childish enough to care about something as dumb as like this woman's entering the family.
Yeah, yeah.
Once you get older, unless you have like serious like arrested development, like serious
that doesn't really
emotional problems, then you know,
marriage like this wouldn't.
You might be a little mopey on the wedding if you're not super like hype.
If you don't really like her.
Yeah, you might be a little mopey,
but you'd also probably respect it.
And you're probably not going to like sabotage it in like a cartoonish way. Which this movie does. That's like the fundamental issue of the movie.
Is he's too darn old.
He's just too old.
It would make all of his actions would make more sense, and it would be easier to take if he were aged down even by 2 years.
And it would be like cuter, right?
Exactly. He'd be easier to take. He'd be more charming.
I'd be like, he's like cute and he has like a crush on this like this senior girl and he's like fucking 12.
The neighborhood girl,
the neighborhood hottie, the babysitter. Yeah.
But so he gives like a heartfelt speech on the wedding. The girls that he steals the cocoa from the first few days, he helps them win a snowball fight.
Competition.
Kind
of comes out of nowhere.
He's, nice to Taz. He doesn't take Taz for granted. He tells him he appreciates him being a good friend. He helps the Italians with the wedding. He helps the girl he has a crush on get with Frankfurt. He tells the boyfriend to buzz off. Goes back home, he gives a nice speech, and he falls asleep, and when he wakes up in the morning, no dog fart.
No fart.
No ska. No ska jingle bells.
It's December 26th, Eddie.
Good morning, Eddie.
Good morning, Eddie. It's December 26th.
Oh, yeah, at the wedding, when they're dancing, the robot's dancing. I mentioned that already.
Oh, also, the sales associate and his crush are at the wedding.
Yeah, they've never met Zach or Marilyn. At least to my knowledge.
Yeah, so it doesn't make any sense.
Eddie didn't know who the sales associate was until Christmas.
Yeah, how the hell did the sales associate get an invite to this wedding so quickly?
Yeah.
On, like, the day of?
Those invitations had to have been sent. It's a Christmas Day wedding. Those invitations had to have been sent out, like, 6 months in advance, at least.
Small town Christmas.
Everybody's invited. But
we're inviting the whole town.
When he wakes up the next morning, he runs downstairs. Marilyn, Zach, his dad,
all
Oscar,
snuggled up by the Christmas tree.
They're like, Eddie, you want to open some presents? And what does he say, Ava?
I'm good for now.
He doesn't need those breezies. He just wants to spend time with his brother, his new sister-in-law.
He realizes instead of a pair of breezies, you can put on a pair of dress shoes, a shirt and tie, hold a Book of Mormon,
and become a missionary.
You don't need the swag.
You don't need the swag. It's about the dangers of swag. And when he's convincing Kirkpatrick Frankfurt or whatever, he's like, my favorite line in the movie is he's like, why do you need to go to work? I have this girl I need to introduce you to. And he's like, man, I got to go to work because I'm saving up to buy some breezy 3000s. And Eddie says, why would you let swag get in the way of the girl of your dreams? And I love that line. So with that,
that's
Ava,
probably how you feel like all the time.
What?
You're always like, I can't let my swag get in the way of like our relationship.
I guess I do feel like that
because like you're so swaggy, and you're like, fuck, like I can't be too swaggy for Ava.
So with that, Ava, snowball rating time. What are your thoughts on 2016's Christmas All Over Again? Directed by and featuring the acting stylings of Christy Carlson Romano.
So this was pretty technically solid.
Yes, in terms I would say this was competent.
The way it looked, the lighting, the action performances were pretty solid.
Yeah.
It was low budget, but not absurdly so.
Yeah. Had a crew.
Was a Christmas movie. Undeniably a Christmas movie.
Yes, yeah.
Undeniably.
The Christmas element of this, I think, trumps the Christmas elements of Sir Charles Christmas.
Yes. Undeniably cute dog.
Yeah.
Robot.
Robo Buddy.
I found the movie asinine.
Yeah, I think I agree. I found Eddie Kirkpatrick to be unbelievably hard to take.
Yes. And just like fundamental annoying things that were annoying, but I guess like in a lot of like, if you want to compare it to like Disney Channel original movies or Nickelodeon original movies, or Cartoon Network original movies.
Yeah.
I think some of those movies probably have some same issues in terms of like aging.
Oh, for sure.
Casting. Like,
for sure.
I remember even as a kid sometimes I'd be like, why is this 16-year-old playing a 9-year-old?
Or like,
you know, like
totally.
Shit like that.
Why is this 21-year-old playing a 16-year-old?
Yeah, I feel like my mom would always point that out when I was a kid.
We should have had her on for this episode too. Check out our last episode.
What did you think about the age of the kid?
Check out our last episode where we do a Christmas Karen with Ava's mom.
Yes, my mom lets us know all of her knowledge about Karens and
the beauty industry.
So that was cool. It's always nice to have a guest on here, so we're not all so alone.
Yeah, if you're interested in being a guest, reach out, Yeah,
if you're interested in being a guest, send us an email.
Yeah. Send us an email.
Send us an email. I'll come up
respond to the Spotify question on this episode. The Spotify question on this episode will be who should guest on this podcast.
Yeah.
Maybe not this season, but next year.
And you can put in like any name that you want.
Yeah.
So take that as you wish.
Yeah.
You can put in any name that you want.
Yeah. We'll get Patton Oswalt on here. He loves doing this shit. Talking about movies.
Yeah.
Get the old Oswalt bump.
What on the snowball ratings? On
snowball rating on Christmas all over again.
Back into the issue of snowballs. So,
I'm going to give my score. So Sir Charles Christmas was a 2.5. I think in terms of Christmas cheer, as well as coherence of concept and movie, this movie is better than that.
I agree.
So I'm giving this movie, I think this is a solid 3 snowball film.
Yeah, I would say it's a 3 snowball film as well. It would get higher if it wasn't fucking annoying.
Sure, yeah, I agree.
If there was,
no,
all
around it was pretty good, but it was annoying.
My appeal to the filmmakers, you had a decent Christmas movie. Why did you have these annoying elements in it?
Yeah, you had a good cast. You had a solid technical baseline.
Why focus on this like super hyper trendy idea of swag?
Yeah,
hyper trendy, but like 3 years late to a cultural
at
conversation.
The time already. Yeah,
already 3 years late.
This movie was maybe filmed in it came out December of 2016, probably. I'm assuming on DVD and streaming.
If this kid was wearing a fucking like Invader Zim t-shirt and skinny jeans and high tops and a backwards snapback, or no, not backwards, a front-facing snapback, and he had his hair like
kind of emoed out,
I would be like, yeah, this is about swag. This is about a kid who cares about swag. Because I remember being a kid, like, in that time period, and the way people would talk about swag, they're like, oh, like, swag, like, it would be like hashtag swag, like, on, like, their photos, right? Like, you would even, like, edit in, like, on your photos, like, you would take, like, a photo, like, this is for our younger viewers. They might not know this. You take a photo.
For our 12-year-old, for our Gen Alpha audience.
Yeah, you take a photo, and the angle would be like this, right? And you'd be like, all right,
yeah, I guess,
film in the video, say, wait. You'd be like this, and then you would edit onto the actual photo itself. And this would be for like Facebook, probably before about MySpace, but we'll say Facebook right now. Onto the photo itself, it would say like hashtag swag.
Yeah.
And
sure.
And sometimes like the acronym of what swag could mean.
Yeah.
And then so like
stuff we all get.
And then there was like racial groups that like had like their own like swag. So it was like swagapinos. Like the Filipinos had their own swagapinos.
Oh,
that's very real. You can look this up as like a cultural thing.
That's very real.
Yeah, like there's like this whole like Asian swag like and Filipino swag thing.
Interesting.
That was really big.
Interesting.
During that time, but swag was pervasive. White communities had the swag. White communities were like swag, like swag. Like. Swag.
Well, but the breezy element makes me think he's like a hype beast. Like he might be like a Supreme wearer.
And
so, like if he's like in
like
the world
2012, these kids would be Supreme wearers, but I guess like the rich swag kids might wear Supreme, but
have Yeezys.
But the young, the real actual soldiers of swag, like the OG, like swagaholics,
the soldiers of swag.
Yeah, like
that's a magnificent turn of phrase.
Actual kids with swag. Back in the day, in like 2010 to 2013, or 2008 to 2013, they were shopping at the mall, and they would wear like the Domo t-shirt.
Oh, Domo, yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, Domo.
That little brown, nubby guy.
Or it'd be like a girl, and she'd have like the sweatshirt and then the flannel over it.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe two like braids.
Yeah,
but
sure.
then she'd have like highlights and shit. Yeah. Like swag.
But so
it was totally like if you're not going to tap into that aesthetic, don't make this fucking movie. Don't make this movie and say like, oh, he's a swag kid.
Swag obsessed.
Just
child.
make him like, oh, he's obsessed with like being cool.
Yeah.
Like he's obsessed with trends. Like just say that.
Or like make him a sneakerhead. Make him a kid that just likes shoes.
Yeah, because like it dates it so much to say it's a swag thing because like that cultural thing was so real and it's so specific and they can't even tap into it. No, because like that's what like. Kids today, they don't know. These like Gen Alpha fucking or like younger Gen Z people, like we're in Gen Z technically, but like, like you weren't even on you weren't on Facebook.
No,
when swag existed.
I didn't have social media.
We're the same age,
in
obviously.
high school.
Yeah, we're the same age, but I
until senior year of high school.
Yeah, we were the same age, but I had consistently been online for longer.
Yeah.
And when I was like 10, or like when I was like 11, because I think I got on Facebook when I was 11. When I was like 11, I had a lot of friends from the extracurriculars that I did. I did karate. A lot of my friends were like 17. right?
Swag kids.
And they were swag kids. So I was very aware of swag and how it intersected with emo and like scene and all this shit. It was like emo, scene, and swag, and they're all different. And they'd be like swag kids versus emo kids, you know, scene kids versus swag kids. It was like there were whole subcultures.
Interesting.
It was a really big subcultural movement. It wasn't just like, oh, this rapper said swag. Like, yes, the rapper said swag, but the kids were fucking doing their swag, like fucking like selfies.
All right, well, let's round out the discussion.
They were doing duck face.
The duck face was a swag thing?
Well, it wasn't just a swag thing, but I'm saying
the swag thing included doing duck face.
Everyone was doing duck face.
Duck face was all encompassing. It wasn't just swag kids in particular.
It was duck face, and then I can't remember what celebrity it was. I think it was Selena Gomez, but she did fishy face instead of duck face
now,
once.
What's that look like? Ooh, and duck face is like... Okay.
She did fishy face in an Instagram selfie, like an OG, like year 2010 Instagram selfie. And I remember there was news articles like the fishy face is the new duck face. I remember, and I know that this happened when I was like 12, because I remember the apartment that I was living in. I remember the living room I was sitting in when I read this news article about when the fishy face dropped. I remember that shit. And
where were you when the fishy face dropped?
I stood in my mirror, and I'm like, I gotta learn. I'm like, because I was always like, the duck face doesn't look good on me, and it's true because when I do a duck face. Chat, you can see this. Chat, you can see this. But when I do the duck face, my chin wrinkles. So like.
And it becomes a less defined chin.
It doesn't look cute. So I was like, oh, I need to learn how to do the fishy face because I can't do the duck face.
Which is, again, it snatches a little bit.
Yeah, it's a fishy face. So anyhow, I don't know what I'm fucking talking about.
Let's wrap up the discussion. So Christmas All Over Again, 2016, directed by Christy Carlson Romano. That's getting a 3-star, 3 snowball from both of us.
Yeah, and they could have gotten 4 if they just made it about like a normal kid and and if they had more robot stuff.
If the robot were explained.
If the robot was a character, it might have been like the best movie ever.
If the robot took the role of like the Taz character.
Oh my god.
That would have been the movie of the year.
So good. That would have been so good.
All right. Well, is this the end of the episode?
The robot's made out of fucking K'NEX.
It really is. It's made out of like... It looks like...
Good morning, Eddie.
Looks like a Lego robot.
I feel like we see him like tinkering with the robot when we first see him.
Yeah, something like that. Not when we first see him. When we first see him, he's on the sled.
No, when we first see the robot.
Oh,
robot.
Him, the robot. Not him, Eddie.
Not him, Eddie. I'm talking about like when we first see C-3PO in the slave hut in Tatooine.
In Eddie's room. Okay, so this is the end of the episode.
The episode's done.
This is the end of our 3rd episode of the season, and we're about to enter an interesting territory. We are about to do time travel. The last 2 episodes of the season,
unlike Eddie.
Our Christmas special and our New Year's special, will have been filmed in the past.
Yes.
And uploaded at future dates.
Yes.
So this is the last. If there's significant, happenings in our lives or the world, we will be versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
Posted into the internet in the future that are unaware.
Yeah. So like, if anything significant happens in the world in between, us filming it and us posting it, just know that it was, it was created beforehand, so we couldn't have possibly acknowledged the happenings in the world. Yeah. Because
that's at Simpsons. We might become like a new Simpsons Predict. There might be predictions made on these episodes that we're about to bank later today.
Yeah, I'm gonna make some big Christmas predictions on the next episode.
So stay tuned for that for the 4th and 5th episodes.
I'm gonna guess the gift of the year.
There's kind of a new theme this next episode. Next week, you're gonna want to tune in because things might get a little steamy. So we'll see you on Christmas, guys. Until then, ho ho ho,
and happy holidays.
Happy holidays.